Hey family, welcome back to my video. Today we will see, what if Naruto led Elemental Nation and became the god of elements? Before we start, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the original author of this story. Your generosity is greatly appreciated. Now enjoy the video. Glorified tour guide was just added to that list. Ah, Gildarts-san, said the Toad Guard, perhaps we could stop soon. I feel we have traveled a great deal thus far. Yeah, when 3 hours of walking was considered far. Sometimes being with old people really sucked. At any time, Toad-san, the orange-haired man replied, hiding his boredom and disappointment. I have no objections. It really sucked. The great, overarching mission he was assigned by Makarov to take this over-glorified politician to see the sights west of the border was a complete joke. S-class my ass. No wonder he said it would be a long time. This should take only 1 year, let alone 3. Perhaps here is a good spot. The Toad motioned the elder man over as he sat down on a log and took out a water bottle, drinking the entire thing in one gulp. Ah, that feels good. The politician, Shitu Yajima, possible electorate for the Magic Council, which explains the Toad Guards. He was a small old man with thick, gray eyebrows and a small mustache that only went as far as the sides of his nostrils. He wore a long-sleeve brown shirt with black, vertical stripes, a dark brown hat with 3 large, spike-like protrusions coming from the top of it, and what looked like brown sweatpants. But it was hard to tell if the height difference was a clue. He wasn't a bad guy or anything, but he was S-class. No screw that. He was sulfur monosulfide class. He thought being awesome enough to get to S-class was enough to keep you from the horrors of boredom that were crappy, no life, waste of time D-rank or God forbid E-rank missions. Yet here he was, babysitting an over-glorified politician. Gildarts-san? The man was taken from his own thoughts as he heard his client speak. Is something wrong? No sir, the man replied. I was just trying to think of what exactly you want to see out here. There really isn't much landscape worth looking at, and the politics, we all know what that's like. But you do know the general landscape, correct? The man responded to Gildarts over the man's shoulder. That is what we want to see, how accurate your memory is. But why make it an S-class mission? The younger man turned towards his elder, and 3 years. We've only spent a month out here and I know that the issue will most likely not be the time constraint. No disrespect to you, of course. None taken, the man responded, and don't worry lad, this won't be as boring as you think it will be. As the younger man's interest was quirked, the older man hopped from his position on the log and motioned to his Toad Guard, who quickly followed him as he stepped back onto the road. Come along then, we have little light to waste. I'm not sure how much I can remember from this part, Gildarts said to the client. It was a long time ago, and my head wasn't exactly in gear. The man turned back and shrugged. If you can't remember it, then we can always just get a map. We want to know the terrain and the locations, not just have you blunt memorize it. I suppose. There was a brief pause between them as a breeze blew by and rustled some of the nearby leaves. Where do you plan on visiting first, sir? A small town named Junction. And where would that be, sir? Just past the border of Hai no Kuni, my boy. The elder man turned back to him with a grin. You sound worried. Come on, what do you think could happen to us in that short a time frame? Silence. Disappointment. Confusion. Fear. Uncertainty. Shock. In the dark hallway one could clearly see a 13-year-old Naruto Uzumaki holding the scroll of seals in front of none other than the 3rd Hokage. Tension was in the air. Oriki no Jutsu. Sexy technique. Was. As blood sprouted from the old man's nose, the blonde boy disappeared into the night, jumping from roof to roof, the adrenaline keeping him going. Crap 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 crap. The boy practically came to tears. I have to learn this thing super fast. If I can't do this before Gigi wakes up. He clenched his teeth. Gah. I will not fail this test again. The boy made a large leap over the village gate from the last rooftop and out of the village. Never again. Hey, a chunin with pale blue-white hair grinned evilly as he watched the boy make his leap. Perfect. Turning from his location and putting his hands in a sign, He disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Just wait, demon brat. Unknowingly the blonde continued his race from the city gates as fast as he could. The adrenaline from his encounter keeping him going without his own knowledge of how far he had gone, finally stopping about 10 miles from the village. This looks like a good spot. Taking shelter behind a tree, the boy unraveled the scroll and spread it out before him. Let's see here. First jutsu on the list. His eyes bulged and his head moved into the reaches of his palm in a moment of defeat. A Bunshin jutsu. I suck at Bunshin. Why me? He sighed, looking over the details of the jutsu listed below. Man, this looks kind of awesome though. I'll have to try it out. There's no way Gigi can't make me a ninja after I learn this jutsu. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Shadow clone technique. As far as the land goes, we all know the different terrain types. Shitu sat across from Gildarts at a small campfire, the toad on guard duty, but I never really looked into the different types of magic used in these parts. Do you remember anything? Magic wouldn't be the term they use, although it might as well be, Gildarts explained. Similar to us, they understand the two different forms of energy, physical and spiritual. However, the way they use it is completely different from ours. How so? Well, it's been a long time since I've thought about it, so this might not be the best explanation. The man leaned back on his log, the fire glowing off his face in the dark setting, but from what I remember, instead of using the two separately, you were taught to combine the two, which is how they create jutsu. We on the other hand have spiritual energy used for caster-type magic and physical energy used for holder-type magic. Strange place this is. Shitu stared into the small campfire, seemingly lost in time. You'll have to describe your first visit here to me again sometime. It sounds quite interesting. Maybe not, but he nodded in respect. Good night, sir. Good night, Gildarts-san. Turning his attention away from the elder man, he stared into the fire. This trip is going to give me more flashbacks than I ever wanted. Doggone it, Makarov, I thought I told you I never wanted to return here. Hearing the rustle, he turned his attention from the flame and looked behind him as he saw two men in purple and black dress. But what stood out the most was the sound note that was on their Hite 8. New village I see, he thought to himself. May I help you? Don't play games with me. Do you have the scroll or not? What scroll? As he tried to finish his response, the men already disappeared, leaving Gildarts on edge. What was that about? Something doesn't feel right about this. He turned around to see the faithful toad guard asleep, slumped on a nearby tree. This is something I really feel I need to check out, but what about Shitu? He looked over to the man, who was peacefully asleep on his sleeping bag. I sense a migraine, and I don't have any Advil, he sighed. Curse you, Natsu, for rubbing off on me so much. All right. The blonde shouted in victory as puffs of smoke surrounded him. Got it, now for the next one. Naruto? The boy turned to see Iruka approaching him with a worried look on his face. Why did you do this? Return that scroll now. Ah. Iruka-sensei, why did you have to find me so fast? Naruto pouted. I only got to learn 2 jutsu. He's been learning jutsu from the scroll. Iruka seemed to get even more worried. Why are you doing this? Mizuki-sensei told me that if I learned a jutsu from the scroll, I could become a genin. The worried look on Iruka's face became even more so as Naruto watched him in confusion. What's wrong, Iruka-sensei? You look. Naruto, get down. Naruto suddenly found himself on the forest floor under his teacher as he heard a flock of shuriken fly overhead. Looking at his sensei with worry, Iruka stood up and turned towards the tree he had been standing on, revealing the shuriken and kunai that had lodged themselves in his back. What are you up to, Mizuki? Doggone it, I have no time for this. The man in question let a growl escape his lips. The brat didn't go to the shrine I told him to. That alone made me take more time to find him. Let alone take the scroll and find Orochimaru-sama's henchman, but now Iruka is here. Ah, hello Iruka. The man crouched on his tree branch and reached for one of the 2 large shuriken on his back. I would love to banter with you and the brat, but I have a deadline to meet. A deadline? Naruto looked at his 2 sensei conversing. Does he mean my exam? But that doesn't explain why he attacked Iruka-sensei. What game are you playing here, Mizuki? Iruka reached behind him and pulled out a kunai from his back and held it defensively. There has never been a makeup exam like this. Why do you want the scroll? My master has decided that I can come to him now. The man's face turned into that of a demon's, taking an unearthly smile and his eyes bulging like a madman. I will take that scroll and go to my master, Orochimaru. He started to laugh menacingly to himself as Iruka backed up to Naruto. Naruto, no matter what this man says, don't listen to him. He's trying to betray Konoha. What? Naruto, I need you to not worry about me, but you must take this scroll back to Lord Hokage and have him send reinforcements. A very bad man is going to try and take this scroll. Chit-chatting with the demon brat? Quit wasting your breath. Naruto looked up at Mizuki, even more confused than he had been. Slowly Iruka seemed to get very, very scared about something. Mizuki, don't. I just don't get it, Iruka. He paused momentarily to dodge the kunai that was thrown at him. After ending his somersault, he jumped forward with a blinding speed, blasting Iruka aside as he stood over a cowering Naruto. Why do you like the Kyuubi so much anyway? That power. The first shinobi turned to the other, acknowledging that he understood too. Mizuki-san, Lord Orochimaru will be very pleased. Naruto. Iruka tried to crawl closer to him as the boy started letting an overbearing power flow from him. Mizuki, what have you done? Seeing the boy as distracted, Mizuki moved to take the scroll from him. Bad move. RRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRRR sending him directly into tree he had been standing on previously. Naruto calmed down. Iruka tried to calm him in vain as the boy turned and set his sights on him, and he started to draw near. Slowly, the boy approached and Iruka felt himself trying to turn away, to run, but all he could do was try to crawl backwards at a snail's speed. And there he was. Naruto stood directly over him with his power radiating off of him like nothing he had seen before, besides what it was anyway. The chakra was menacing. But he looked up at his student's face and he stared back, until he suddenly saw Naruto's face tense up and he turned, picking up the scroll that was everyone's target and fleeing his wounded sense. The chakra's presence slowly faded away as he ran. Naruto. He tried calling out to his student with no avail. This is bad. At this rate, Mizuki will catch him in the scroll. If he really is trying to contact Orochimaru, who knows what could happen. Suddenly he felt himself being pulled up by his hair as he realized the presence of two others near him. So you know the boy, do you? Iruka looked in fear and rage at the shinobi in front of him. The thing that stuck out the most was the sound symbol on his Hite 8. Well, maybe this will be much easier than I thought. Clenching his teeth he pulled a kunai from his pouch, releasing himself from their grip by cutting his hair and turning to face the two ninja. Run, Naruto. Get back to the village as fast as you can. I'm not sure how long I can hold these guys off. Interesting turn of events this is, the one sound shinobi said to the other. Knock him around for a bit, Tobu, but try to keep him conscious. He can be our bait for the blonde brat. I'll try, but no promises, Buyo. They looked at each other and nodded, the one known as Buyo darting past Iruka and into the forest. As Iruka tried to turn and stop the Auto Nin, he barely dodged in time to escape a flying kunai. Your fight is with me. Konoha scum. Tobu quickly ran towards him and followed up with a knee to his face, sending the injured teacher away from him as he cried out in pain. This guy is strong. What is he? A Junin? Holding his head in an attempt to battle the pain, he stood up and removed several of the weapons still in his back from Mizuki's barrage. But I can't let that stop me. Naruto is in danger. He quickly began his own assault by rushing the foreign ninja with the weapons in between his fingers and his mouth, going head to head with his opponent. I will not lose. No, it can't be. Naruto had paused at the base of a tree not long after he ran, looking at his hands. I can't be. Visions flooded his head as he remembered the stories of the Kyuubi when it attacked Konoha, taking thousands of lives. He flashed back to his childhood memories of being hated by the villagers, the beatings he received, the pain, The insults and disrespect flooded in and hit him like a battering ram, shattering what he had thought of himself. I'm. Hey Gaki. The boy jumped from his seat under the tree as he noticed the voice. Turning towards its direction, he saw a rather tall man with orange hair and a black cloak. He looked like he had shaved recently and had short facial hairs that went from his cheekbones down his neck, and he had a darker skin tone than most people had, similar to Iruka's in a way. You look frightened. Something wrong? The boy looked at him and slowly got up, backing away with the scroll on his back. Hey kid, what's... Gildarts finally took notice of the large scroll on the blonde boy's back. Taking into account the odd questioning of the ninja before he put the pieces together, is somebody chasing you? The kid turned and ran way too fast for a kid his age. What the heck did I stumble upon? Wait, come back. He moved to run but quickly found himself turning to grab several objects hurtling through the air at him. Finding the source of them, he turned to see one of the men from the camp. I knew there was something going on when you walked into our camp. Hey, this might not be as easy as we hope it to be. The Auto Nin took out another of his weapons and crouched on the tree branch he stood on. After all, whoever expected the return of the mountain crusher, Gildarts Clive, the wanderer who fought the Kyuubi itself during its rampage on this country. I'm still in the bingo book then, the man frowned. Wonder if the picture is recent. That doesn't matter, because when I take your head to Orochimaru-sama, the man smirked from under his mask, I will be entrusted with more power than you could ever hold. The man turned and walked towards him. You talk big for a nameless nobody. Too bad I can't get any bounty off of you though. Shame. Before he realized what had happened, the Auto Nin found the man right in front of him. Crash. Hey, you're not so bad at this for a Konoha nin. Tobu laughed as he dodged through Iruka's attacks, but that doesn't mean you're any good. The ninja drove a fist into Iruka's stomach, making the man grunt loudly and forcing him to stop and grab his gut, allowing the man to follow up with a roundhouse kick to his head. Never mind what I just said. Oh, you suck. The Auto Nin laughed as the Konoha Chunin tried to stand from his position in the mud, laughing at his struggle. Really though, you look like you haven't been in real combat for years. What do you do all day? Babysit kids? Something like that, I guess. Iruka winced in pain as he held his torso, but he's right. I really have to get in shape. Naruto has got to stop forcing me to take him to Ichiraku's. Clenching his teeth, Iruka managed to grab hold of a tree and stand up, causing the eyebrow of Tobu to raise. Why keep standing? You know I'm just going to beat you until you can't, right? And I don't have to let you live. I know that. Iruka winced as the pain throbbed again, but some things in this world are worth dying for. Friends are on the top of that list. Friend, huh? The Auto Nin laughed. That thing is the container of the Kyuubi. It decimated your village not so long ago. He could see his opponent's anger all over his face. Come on, I'm sure you know at least 3 people that were killed in that attack. Everyone did. I know. Iruka repsonded, anger all over his face. My parents were killed in that attack. The Auto Nin started to laugh. Sucks for you. Iruka's eyebrow twitched, but even if the Kyuubi killed them, Naruto didn't. He is just as much human as you and I are. Ah, isn't that touching? The Auto Nin continued to laugh. However, this makes it easier to get the brat now, doesn't it? Perfect hostage. Iruka's eyes widened as he saw the man appear directly in front of him, then everything went black. Putting the Konoha Chunin over his shoulder, the Auto Nin turned to go find the blonde Jinchurikuri when he heard a noise ring throughout the forest. Boom. What the? Shitu sat up from his slumber as the booming echo rang throughout the forest, making the trees shake and the forest life stir. Gildarts? The man was about to move to get up when he heard footsteps running through the forest. This isn't something I can't just shake off so easily. If Gildarts is fighting, then who knows what's going on. Hey, wimp. Gildarts stood over the Auto Nin in the crater he created. Maybe I went a little over the top though. Oh well, sucks for him. He turned to go look for the boy again and dashed off into the woods. What in the world am I getting into? That friggin' migraine isn't going away, dang it. All my life, Naruto continued to run. He had no idea where, he didn't care. He just wanted to get the heck away from everything. He had just been told straight to his face that he was the Kyuubi. Life sucked. Even Iruka-sensei is afraid of me. Naruto clenched his fists. Why? How can I be the Kyuubi? It makes no sense. He jerked violently as he realized he was not alone, Naruto. He looked to the side, expecting an enemy Mizuki, that weird guy from before, or some other person he didn't know, not Iruka. His teacher jumped up to him and kept his pace. They moved from branches to branch. I managed to escape, but there are still enemies out there coming for the scroll. Toss it to me and let's go home. He felt a sense of guilt and anger from before and rushed ahead of him, trying to get as far away from him as possible. Only to feel a harsh grip on his collar. He turned back to see Iruka holding him back with an evil grin on his face. Hold still, brat, or I'll kill you. Naruto went wide-eyed as Iruka turned into Mizuki with a sick grin on his face. Thanks for the scroll though, it was a pleasure using you. With that he turned and threw Naruto, taking the scroll off of his back in the process. But just because I have the scroll doesn't mean I won't kill you. From his spot on the ground Naruto heard Mizuki's voice echo loudly. After being thrown he had quickly recovered and took a spot behind a tree and hid in its shadow. Why me? Hey look! Naruto's eyes bulged as he heard the approaching voices. He tried his best to keep still and silent, feeling his heart pound in his chest at every step. Mizuki, right? Yes. And judging from the Konoha scum on your back you must be by contact from Orochimaru-sama. Correct, although my partner is missing. I fear that our location may be compromised. Well then, Naruto peeked around the trunk of the tree and could make out the form of Mizuki, holding the scroll, talking to somebody, but he couldn't tell who. A tree was blocking his view. Here's the scroll. I was hoping to tie up some loose ends before we left, but that can be done later I suppose. Actually there is one last thing we need to do before we go. From his position he couldn't make it out so well but he could tell there was a smirk on Mizuki's face when there hadn't been one before. We need to kill off this man. Out of nowhere Naruto saw the form of Iruka fall from the position Mizuki's contact was talking from. He had marks of a scuffle all over him, and he was out cold. He fought me, and he knows too much for his own good. No matter how much he actually knows he would be believed by the village, whereas the Jinchuriki would be forgotten and blamed for the scandal. You are right about that. Naruto saw Mizuki pull a kunai, holding it in reverse grip as he kneeled down over his teacher. Hey, never thought I would beat you, Iruka? Naruto started to move from his position towards Iruka, only to be stopped by the start of a conversation. Yeah, never would have guessed it, Mizuki. Huh? He looked down at his comrade, with a look of confusion. You're awake? I thought that you were out cold. You wish. Iruka looked up at Mizuki from his position on the ground, seemingly defying the situation he was in. Hey, remember yesterday when the academy had the finals? What about it? Mizuki snorted. Don't tell me you just now noticed that everybody's been throwing off his exam scores. Are you really the only one who didn't notice? I noticed yesterday, Iruka continued, and yet you played me into not allowing him to pass. What's your point here, Iruka? I'm getting bored here. The point is, he gave the man a devious smirk, you should never give your opponents time to build up chakra like this. Mizuki's eyes widened as Iruka's hands moved together and Naruto looked on in awe as Mizuki stabbed a log as Iruka landed a kick on him from above, sending the Chunin face first into the log with a scream of pain. But his moment of victory was shortened when the Mizuki's contact rushed him, smashing his elbow into his torso and sending him out of Naruto's range of sight. He quickly dashed forward and grabbed the scroll from its position on the forest floor and put it on his back again, looking for his sensei and the enemy before he dashed back into the trees in an attempt to hide himself and run away. In the midst of the situation he found it funny. After constantly running for about half an hour he still had no idea where he was running to. What is making him take so long? A man was standing in place with a frustrated expression on a roof near the gates of Konoha. He had gray hair kept in a ponytail and large, circular glasses on his face. He wore a dark purple shirt with a white shirt underneath, dark purple pants and dark blue sandals. And he was pissed off at one particular person right now. Mizuki. Did the brat kill him or something? I should have a messenger summoned by now about this. Regardless of how crappy it is, I do have a job to do. You better get that scroll to Orochimaru-sama Mizuki, we need it more than you know. Dang it. Dang it, dang it, dang it. Iruka was continuously getting hit in the face by Mizuki, who had gotten up after his little trick from before, and knew that this wasn't going to end well. He was too worn out from chasing Naruto, to fighting Tobu, and this wasn't going to help give him another opportunity to escape. Oh, and it hurt too. Painful stuff here. If I can't get out of this soon I'll die, he thought between moments of pain and agony, but they still have the Mizuki. Halting his assault on Iruka, he turned to his partner. What? I'm trying to cave in his face here, you know. The scroll is gone. Again. What? Mizuki thrw Iruka to the ground. That's it, we don't have time for this. Reinforcements could be here any minute. We have to find that scroll. He could hear the sounds of their footsteps going away, but he couldn't tell where. He was too tired, he felt himself slipping into darkness. Naruto, even if I don't make it, you better get back home, good luck. With a sigh the man shut his eyes and fell asleep, but unknown to him he was not alone. The orange-haired man approached the downed man and sighed. Come on, what do you think could happen? Of course we won't get sucked up into international conflicts or anything, oh no, we would never just be able to walk through a country without finding some type of huge world-shaping catastrophic event. Through all this the man had picked up the fallen Iruka Amino and continued walking in the direction the other ninja had gone. Stupid, 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 I accept my own missions from now on, Makarov. Screw you and your authority as guildmaster. Achoo. The guild seemed to pause as the effect of the sneeze wore off. Bless you, master. Thank you, Mirajane. Makarov turned down and smiled. Okay, from experience I know that somebody was talking about me. Hope it was something good. Fight me laxus. Never pipsqueak, you're too weak, go somewhere. Fight me already. Karyu no Teken. Fire Dragon's Iron. Fist. Crashing noises ensue. Hey, still weak as ever, Natsu. Hey, watch where you're going, you maniac. The ruckus continued as the guildmaster sighed. I hope that I find a successor soon, this is getting to be too draining for me. Achoo. Gildarts let out a loud sneeze as he continued walking. Dang. Gigi must have a really good sense of identity. Did he really think it was me? Hearing a groan from the limp body he carried, he stopped and looked to see if he was moving. Finding no audible sign of consciousness, he shrugged and kept going. As troublesome as this day is, it may just well be the most interesting thing I've done in a month. Forget the context, I actually got to hit someone. Cut. I posted this one out of boredom, so it may not be perfectly clean as far as everything else goes. I still have a bit to mess around with as far as the plot goes, but how was it? Couple of important notes to this chapter. Mission is one of the many Gildarts has taken that keeps him from home over the course of the pre-canon era. Gildarts does have a history with Konoha, but that's for a later chapter. Cheeky smiley face. Also, thank you everyone who reviewed the Ishiruki ramen, since that was the only reason I could get this story out. Would have been sooner if I had not been met with RL annoyances. Crunch. Random cookies. Laughing face, ch2. Prologue pt2. To be simple, I'm going to put a generic disclaimer here. If I owned Naruto, Bleach, or anything that earned me money, I would try to introduce too many unique ideas and have that position taken away from me, so the only thing I own is the plot and a few OCs. Chapter 2. This was posted at the same time as ch1, since I had to split the original ch1 in two due to length. Enjoy. Demons. Summoning, powerful people. Like me, cheeky smiley face, flashback, emphasis jutsu, magic, techniques ch2. Prologue, pt2. What in the world makes this scroll so heavy? Naruto complained to himself as he ran. The thing was pretty heavy, it was a foot thick for goodness sakes. Stupid Mizuki, stupid test, stupid everything. He slowly felt himself get swallowed by an overwhelming power as he remembered who he was. But I'm Kyuubi. He paused and grabbed his face in anguish as he started to cry. I was born the day he attacked. I have whiskers on my face. Why the heck didn't I realize it sooner? I am a monster. He dropped to his knees and continued to cry, which caught the eyes of a curious onlooker, who walked up to him and tapped his shoulders. Excuse me, young man. Stopping momentarily, he turned to face the voice, finding a short, elderly man at his side. Why are you crying? They. The blonde grabbed his hair in frustration. You wouldn't understand, I've been told I'm a monster straight to my face, and he's right. What do you mean, lad? The man looked at him with confusion and sympathy. You look like nothing monstrous, and I have seen many a monster in my lifetime. Why would you think he's right? Because it makes sense. Why does it make sense? Because it does. The blonde yanked his hair even harder at the frustration he was experiencing from this conversation. Wait, are you my conscience or something? Because you look exactly like I pictured you to be. No, I am not your conscience. The elderly man held out his hand in a friendly manner. My name is Shitu Yajima, and what is your name, my friend? Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki. Well, now that introductions are over, we can get this over with. The two turned to see Mizuki rush them with a barrage of kunai and shuriken, forcing Naruto to pick up the elderly man and jump to the side, dodging the shuriken and kunai with ease, only to get socked in the jaw. Sent airborne from the blow, Naruto found himself rolling on the ground trying to protect the old man he had picked up from before. He had one problem. Said old man was not in his arms. Said old man was standing in front of him, offering him a hand up. Taking the man's hand with surprise, he pulled himself up, only to see his accomplice jump at them both. But before he could react, he saw the old man put his hands in front of him as a large, golden circle appeared in his hands and the earth started to swirl around it. Kobutsu no Kaden. Minerals rotation. With a shout of dismay, the old man released the technique and a layer of dirt separated Naruto from his new friend and his pursuer. Noticing a strange etching on the dirt, he looked carefully at it. Go now, Naruto-kun. I can take care of a couple of young folks like this Shitu Yajima. Not completely understanding the man's quick desire to befriend him, Naruto followed the wish left on the wall. Even the people that do care about me can't escape the ones that hate me. Hey, looks like he's gone now. Dobu turned to the short old man that identified himself as his opponent. To what pleasure do I owe this rude intrusion? Konoha? No, but when you put it that way you sound like it wouldn't be likely. The old man lowered himself into a stance. Does the village have a thing against the boy or something? If you consider the idea of hating him for the demon sealed within him, then yes, they have a little spot in their heart reserved for the little runt. The Otto Nin took his own stance. Why, what do you have on him? I have something on him called a hunch. The old man gestured towards his opponent. But come then, I don't want to lose the boy because you held me up. Sure you'll live long enough, Gramps? The old man chuckled. Funny, I was going to say the same thing to you, lad. Hey, we got one off on the old geezer there it seems. Mizuki smirked, the two seeming to have forgotten about him as he slid back into the forest. And the demon brat isn't that far away. I can catch him pretty easy from here. There you are. Mizuki turned around to find he facing a man with orange hair and a black coat. What the heck do you want? I don't know. Maybe revenge for your friend over here. The man gestured to the knocked out Chunin over his shoulder. Oh, and I have something to tell you. The man's eyebrow quirked just before he noticed the odd man's disappearance and felt a hot breath hit his ear. Crash. Boom. Naruto turned around to hear the same sound he had heard before, only this time it was far louder. The cause must be closer than it was last time. Dang it, Gigi. Whoever you are, hang in there. Naruto suddenly stopped as it hit him. Wait, why am I constantly running away when I don't know where I'm running to? He smacked his forehead and turned around. Why do I have so many people telling me to run when I have no sense of direction? I have no idea where Konoha is, and why would I bother returning to it? The boy's eyes bulged and he stopped, trying to determine if what he briefly saw was real or not. He backed up slowly and looped back. Sure enough, he had seen a weird frog guy smashed into a tree. Huh, weird day. Groan asterisk. Naruto jumped back as he noticed it try to move. It must have seen him, he better make a break for it before. See, can I get a hand here? Groan, I got attacked by someone. Sighing in defeat as it was too late to turn his back on the poor thing, he turned back and walked towards the frog. Who are you, and what happened? You look like you took a real beating. Naruto pulled the frog out of the dent in the tree and tried to help carry him by putting him over his shoulder. My name is Numachi, assigned protector of Shitu Yajima. What? He has an envoy? The toad's eyes widened. Kid, do you know where he is? The blonde nodded. Yeah, I was talking to him not long ago and all of a sudden I was attacked. He told me to run and put up this mud wall and started fighting the guy. And now you're here. Basically, which way is he? Naruto shifted a bit to try and keep the toad on his shoulder. He felt like he was trying to move away, in the direction we're going. I need to go back and try to help. Don't worry about Shitu Dono. Naruto looked up to the toad in surprise. Back in the day, and even now, he is one of the most powerful mages in the world. You wouldn't do well to underestimate him. Cool story, Numachi-san. Naruto put an unsure grin on his face. One question though. Yes. What's a mage? This old geezer's tough as nails? The Otto Nin cursed at himself while dodging the different spikes of mud and earth that kept appearing out of nowhere. No doubt about it, this guy is definitely stronger than me. Mizuki and Buyo, combined or separate. This guy might even be able to take on Lord Orochimaru himself. He paused briefly as he jumped between two of the pillars that began forming in front of him and placed exploding tags on them. Putting his hands together as the explosion rocked the formations Nad caused them to come crashing down. What am I saying? Nobody has the power, let alone the guts to face Lord Orochimaru and win. Darting between several more batches of spikes, he turned to see Mizuki dealing with a man with orange hair wearing a black coat, cape. Dang, Mizuki, being held back by a carrot top? He immediately sensed an incoming and moved just in time to avoid his head getting caved in, but he still got a decent cut on his cheek for his troubles. Jumping back out of the fray, he dashed towards his partner. Dang it, we don't have time for this. And if I don't get this Konoha idiot out of here alive, how will I be able to escape Lord Orochimaru's wrath? This guy is good. Mizuki ducked under a swing and rolled out of the way of a kick that followed him afterwards. Too good. There is no way in heck that I can beat this guy in just taijutsu, let alone the fact that. Crash. Mizuki managed to kawarimi just in time as Gildarts' hand collided with the log, annihilating it into pieces. He can do that. He took to the forest fast, trying to get some decent cover while his enemy was still confused. Crap. Looking to his left, he found himself standing not that far off from Naruto and that weird frog from before, and the brat had the scroll with him too. Give me the scroll already. Mizuki jumped forward at him, taking the giant shuriken off his back as he moved to cleave his body in two. Only to hit something. No, someone completely different. Naruto looked on in unbelieving eyes as the giant shuriken cut through the Chunin vest of his teacher, Iruka-sensei. Naruto, you're okay. The man slowly turned back and gave him a weak smile. Hey, don't worry about me, I'll be fine. Iruka-sensei. Naruto moved to try and stop Mizuki from causing the man any more harm, but was stopped by the appearance of the man that had attacked him before. The one that he had been saved from by Gigi. Nice, Mizuki, he's in shock. Help me get the scroll and let's get the heck out of here. The man approached Naruto, only for the toad to stand in his way. You did this, to a child? Naruto saw the toad clench its webbed hands as he tried to stand on his own. And Naruto-kun, let me stand up. The toad noticed the blonde had grabbed his arm and would not let go. And Naruto, let go or we'll die here. Sucks for you then. The Otto Nin pulled out a kunai and cocked his hand back, bringing it forward to slice into the two, only for him to realize one grave mistake. Kobutsu no Kami Teho, Minerals Divine Shackles. The Auto Nin and the former Leaf Nin were grabbed up in the air by a large amount of earth, causing them to curse themselves as they realized their stupidity at leaving their opponents behind. Numachi, said Toad, looked over to see his master, Shitu Yajima, look over at the scene in horror. What the? Sir, the boy is in shock. If we can't get him treated soon, he might go into a coma. Holy crap. The two turned from the boy to see Gildarts approach. What the heck happened here? I tried to hit the one guy with my crash magic, but then it's a log. Then he's gone. And then you're gone. And then everybody disappeared. And now we have an international crisis on our hands, and to top it off, we have a kid in trauma and a guy cleaved in two. Great. Gildarts-san, please be serious. The kid is in a serious condition, let alone his companion. Excuse me, sirs. The Toad, the Elder, and the Warrior all turned to face a man wearing a white mask in the shape of an animal with a single color design on it. But I will have to ask you to come with me back to Konoha, with all due haste. Why should we do that? Gildarts asked. The kid here was attacked by some of you ninja. Why the heck should we bring him there? Because he is one of ours, sir. So they finally found him. The third Hokage held his face as a migraine began to overtake him, but it was too late. Orochimaru's henchmen still managed to almost kill Iruka, and I have no doubt Mizuki shot his mouth off at the boy. Taking his eyes off his crystal ball, the Hokage reached beside him and pulled up his pipe, lighting it with a simple fire jutsu. There's no doubt this will get me chewed out by the council, but I already know there is no choice in this matter. Putting his pipe down with a puff, the Hokage went through several hand seals and initiated Shunshin, teleporting him to a rooftop near the gate of the city. Lord Hokage? The third looked behind him and saw the origin of the voice. Ah, Kabuto, the third smirked at his luck. Listen, I need you to help me with something. This will be considered an A-rank mission for you and I will give you pay for it. One of yours? Yes, sir. This boy is a citizen of Konohagakure no Sato, and as a representative of the Hokage I will be taking you to see him privately. No chance in heck. Gildarts stepped forward, surprising both Shitu and Numachi. I am not stepping back in that village again. Last time I came here I had to fight a friggin' Biju, get my face plastered all over the friggin' bingo book, and it was so annoying that I left after the Yondaime's funeral. Yet you have the nerve to ask me to go back to that place? No way. The Anbu member faltered and backed up a step. Gee, Gildarts? You came back? Reluctantly, against my will, and without a warning whatsoever, and you had better not let a DAWGONE person in that village know it. I am not going back there. But you must. I have been instructed specifically by Lord Hokage. Do you feel lucky today? An evil grin came on the face of Gildarts, because I don't think a million of you and your band of merry men could take me out. Let alone Gigi over there. That will be quite enough threatening to my subordinates, Gildarts-kun. The orange-haired mage stopped as he turned to see Sarutobi Hiruzen approach him as a random leaf genin began looking over the fallen Iruka and attempting to treat him. Lord Hokage, his injuries are serious. There's no way I can do anything major about his condition out here. We will move out in a second, Kabuto. I will send a clone with you to handle the details in a moment. However, he turned to the Anbu and the genin. Everything you know and saw here today is a sulfur monosulfide. Ranked secret. You will not speak to anyone about what you have seen here, or I will shame you enough that no one will take you seriously, and eventually Ibiki and Anko will torture you to death. Clear? Kabuto looked slightly disturbed about the outcome of the encounter, but the Anbu simple bowed as a sign of acceptance, and Kabuto found a voice to speak with. I understand, Lord Hokage. Good. The older man created a shadow clone and had it accompany them along with Iruka at a fast pace towards the nearest place to get treatment. Now, about this. With all due respect, Sandame-san, Gildarts bowed to the elder man, I am not going back to your village. And you won't? Gildarts stood up again. However, Gildarts, these young men will not be coming back to my fair city. If you could hold onto them for just a few minutes longer. Shitu nodded. There would be no problem with that, sir. Good. Then, let me look at Naruto. The Sandame pried Naruto's hand from the arm of Numachi, letting the toad sit while he looked at the boy with a sigh. Gildarts, I must ask you and your company here to do me a great favor. Gildarts looked at the man curiously, and what would that be? The Sandame continued to look over Naruto. Please take care of the Yondaimi's legacy. Gildarts looked at him with confusion and awe as the Sandame sighed again, looking to the others around him. I am about to wake the boy, but this may not be a pleasant experience. Please stay silent until I say. This will be very unpleasant. Receiving nods from the trio, the Sandame turned towards Naruto and went through many seals at lightning speed. Kinjutsu. Shin-o-Muraget. Secret forbidden art. Swarming the mind. Iruka-sensei was dead. Naruto sat as still as stone as he stood off to the side of the sewer, which was flowing rather fast. After everything that had happened, he had finally found one person in his village that respected him. One. And now that number was back to 0 because of him and his stupidity. If he hadn't listened to Mizuki, Iruka would still be alive. He would have been back home, waiting for the next school year to start like any other. And himself? Naruto knew he would keep living in ignorance of his own curse. Hey, he would have never known why he was hated so badly if this hadn't have happened. He would never have known that he was the Kyuubi. And Iruka had given his life as a sacrifice for it. Iruka knew what Mizuki said about him. He saw it. He was there. He remembered the look of fear that had been on his face when he had walked up to him. The terror was clean as day, and yet he got himself killed trying to save him. The sewers roared in a righteous fury now, rising to a higher level than they were before. Feeling that his life had no meaning, he looked down at the raging waters, thinking about diving in and ending his life. Finishing what the Yondaime started. Naruto. He stopped looking at the waters and looked at the source of the voice. Gigi. What the heck are you doing here? And where are we? The Hokage was running furiously over the giant waves, trying to reach the boy before his mind was turned to mush. Thinking fast, he spat out the first thing he could think of. Naruto, we're at Ichiraku's. Order something already. He looked at the old man as if he had spoken in another language. This one weird dream, Gigi. What are you going to order? That's a good question, Gigi. Naruto stroked his chin in thought. Maybe the miso pork wouldn't be the best for this time of the day, but then again, why not? It's a perfectly logical choice, and I doubt that I would really have an issue with it. Besides, I never liked the fish-flavored ramen, but that's beside the point because I think I'll order some plain ramen for once. Okay, Naruto-kun, it'll be ready in a minute. Opening his eyes in shock, Naruto found himself sitting next to Gigi in Ichiraku. What type of weird dream was this? Phew, I'm glad that worked. What worked, Gigi? And why are you in my dreams telling me what to do? Naruto, first off, this is your mindscape, not a dream. Noticing the look of confusion, he decided to elaborate. We are in your mind, Naruto. Oh. Second off, I managed to get you to change your setting from that sewer to Ichiraku, where we will not drown in who knows what is actually in that water. Huh? Naruto looked at him. How did I do that? You thought about it? The Sandame smiled as he saw the gears click for the young boy. Naruto, just before I say this, I will clarify myself again. This is really me, in your mind, talking to you about this. And I am dead serious about every word. What are you talking about, sensei? Naruto, you cannot come back to Konoha. What did he mean? The Yondaime's legacy? Is he referring to Naruto-kun? Shitu nodded. Correct, Numachi, but I don't understand the significance of it. Do you know Gildarts-san? I'm not sure, Shitu-sama, he responded, but when he's done I'm going to make certain. I don't want to jump to any conclusions here. What? Naruto stopped stuffing the ramen as he turned to the Hokage in utter confusion. I can't come home. What the heck, Gigi? What in the world can keep me from coming home? Naruto, let me explain. Sarutobi tried to calm the boy down. These events lead me to two conclusions I wish I never had to face. The first is that scroll, he gestured to the scroll on Naruto's back, still contains things that should never be brought to the light of day, and it should be destroyed. Why, Gigi? One of my former apprentices, Orochimaru, was the boss of the men that tried to take your life today. He wants the scroll. The old man scratched his head, but I have no idea why. If I just kept it here it could probably be stolen with ease, especially after that little trick you pulled on me. Second, this is something I cannot allow you to face. Naruto, I explained it to you years ago that I cannot protect you every moment of your life, and I need you to take that into deeper consideration. When I tell you this, knowing he had the boy's attention, he continued, if you come back alive, and Iruka doesn't, you will be lynched. What? Naruto turned towards him so fast the ramen was smacked onto the floor, shattering the bowl and spilling its contents all over the ground. Lynched? Me? What the heck did I do? Naruto, this village has many strengths, our civilian population is not one of them. They also happen to have a large monopoly over the city with their thinking, and politics in general, and I'm sure Mizuki wasn't kind enough to spare you the explanation of their hatred of you. Naruto looked down. So you knew I was. He felt his head get lifted by the chin and found himself face to face with the old man. You are not, Naruto, and Iruka's actions tonight proved that not all people are ignorant like those from our village. You are the container, the borderline that keeps it from us. You are a hero. Then why the heck can't you tell them that? Naruto banged his fist on the table, utterly destroying it. Why wouldn't they believe you? Because in their ignorance and hatred they would only go about it in ways I can't control. He sighed. Naruto, there are things I wish I could tell you right now, but they would only make your life more miserable and harder than it already is. All I can say is that you are not blessed with a life of peace. The old man stood up from the stool and gave the blonde a hug. I hope you do find peace out there someday. What are you talking about, Gigi? Tears began trailing down his eyes. Don't leave me like Iruka-sensei did. Don't you abandon me. Naruto, I am not abandoning you. The old man released the blonde and gave him an earnest gaze. I only want to try and give you a normal life. I am sorry I couldn't make it better for you here, but with the things that transpired tonight I fear that you will only begin to hold more and more of the village's hate towards you. But Gigi, Naruto's tears fell freely. Where will I go? I am sending you with a man called Shitu Yashima and his party, who will take you back to Fury, a country west of the mountains, and help you find a new life there. Seeing that Naruto only kept crying harder, Sarutobi just embraced the boy again, trying to comfort him as best as he could. What about my dream, Gigi? The boy continued crying. I never even became a ninja. Naruto. The old man pulled off his hite from his forehead and handed it to the crying boy, halting the flow of tears as he examined the object. It was black and slightly worn, but he could tell that it was something of priceless value. Gigi, this is, as the cage of Konohagakure no Sato I pronounce you, Naruto Uzumaki, as an official genin of your village. Seeing Naruto's tears begin to come back, he continued, and with this title comes the longest mission ever assigned to a Konoha shinobi. Naruto, this mission is so dangerous and hard that our simple scale of ES doesn't apply here. This mission involves the possibility of death, severe injury, pain beyond the senses and heartbreak, but I know you can accomplish it. This mission is only something you can do, and I'm sure that you will find happiness one day. Backquote, Naruto, your mission is to find residence outside of the elemental nations and away from its influence. Learn the different aspects of the new places you visit, meet interesting people, always continue to grow, and achieve whatever you feel is moral and something you feel the need to do. And more importantly, Naruto, find yourself a place of true happiness. Gigi. Naruto held onto the fading body of the sandaime as long as he could, not wanting to leave the last person he knew and everything he ever wanted. Don't go, Gigi. With a smile and a teardrop running down his eye, the sandaime disappeared into nothing. Gigi. Cut. Depressing? Yeah, sorry, I wanted to post the second chapter real bad and didn't have the time to fix up some of the badly written parts of this chapter, sorry. So how was it? Please leave a review since I don't want to just sit here and leave this story to possibly die, please review. Couple of important notes to this chapter. Iruka is not necessarily dead. I say this because I realized that it was so easily inferred by Naruto's understanding of the situation. I repeat, Iruka is not dead. No character death. This is the second part of the prologue. I extended it to 3 sections because I realized it would be easier to understand that way. I only used crash to symbolize Gildarts' attacks since that's the most basic form of his magic, which is all I needed for this section. Kobutsu is a magic I created to enable Shitu Yajima to have some sort of fighting prowess. He was a member of Makarov's team after all, so he should know how to kick ass. I might be able to get the third and final part of the prologue out by the end of today if I have enough time. It will be out by at least Tuesday though, would have been sooner if I had not been met with RL. Crunch. Random cookies. Laughing face, CH3. Prologue PT3. To be simple, I'm going to put a generic disclaimer here. If I owned Naruto, Bleach, or anything that earned me money, I would try to introduce too many unique ideas and have that position taken away from me. So the only thing I own is the plot and a few OCs. Chapter 3. I managed to post it today. Hooray! Smiley face. All in the same day I managed to post a total of 20,000 words. Take that FF. Enjoy the prologue come to an end. Demons. Summoning, powerful people, like meet Shiki smiley face, flashback, emphasis. Jutsu, magic, techniques ch. 3. Prologue PT3. There was a road. A road that was made of dirt, dust and gravel, and was surrounded on either side by forest. This road was seemingly without travelers, except a single group that had been walking for several days now, consisting of a human-like toad, a short old man, a warrior of legend, and a young teen laying on a floating piece of earth. The group, which had been in silence for most of the time since they had received the boy, seemingly found a subject to talk about as the toad struck up conversation. He has been out for some time, hasn't he? For being in that type of mental trauma, I wouldn't think it passed him to sleep through another week of travel, the man sighed. Unfortunately, there isn't much we can do about it. Numachi, the Sandame, told us that he needed to get very far away from the village before he could truly come to terms with everything he's been through. And don't bother trying to hide the gloom and doom either, Gildarts added on. If we give the kid looks like we are now, I think it wouldn't help him to get over much of anything. Shitu nodded. I agree with Gildarts. When the lad wakes up we have to help him settle into things easy. Maybe the constant travel will help? Maybe, maybe not. Gildarts shrugged. It depends on what the kid is going to be going through when he gets up. If he wants to try and set up a new life super fast, then he wouldn't like it one bit, but if he's still trying to come to terms with what he has to deal with now, then yeah, he might like the changes. So we have no idea what we're in for. No need to be so down, Umachi. I know, Gildarts-san, he replied, but you make it sound like he'll never be happy again or something. I'm sorry. Gildarts-san, please be quiet or you'll wake Naruto-kun. Sorry, but dang it, I need a good fight. There is nothing worth doing around here. Don't go yet, Ramen-chan. Oh my sweet Ramen-chan, come back to me. Naruto chased after the bull that was his ramen, chasing her through the flowery field, both of them laughing and having a great time. Ramen-chan, come back. The ramen suddenly tripped and fell, causing all the ramen to spill down the hillside as he watched and trembled. Ramen-chan. Sorry, but dang it, I need a good fight. There is nothing worth doing around here. Sorry. You need a good fight. The party turned around to see the blonde boy who was sleeping soundly moments before clenching his fists and shaking them in his face threateningly. Well, I'll give you a good fight, you ramen-killing son of a carrot. Before anyone could register what had happened, the boy had closed the distance between himself and Gildarts in seconds, hitting the man with a strong right jab, getting a clean hit on his face. But he didn't budge. Hey, aren't I lucky today? Now I actually get to hit back. Before Naruto could even register the meaning, it hit him hard, like a punch to the face by a man over 3 times his age. But then again, that was the gist of it. Sent airborne, Naruto felt the wind move past him as he sailed into the brush of a nearby tree, which cushioned his landing compared to what it would have been, and let him get his head together. What the heck? That felt like getting hit with 3 Sakura-chans, not even counting the other fangirls lined up behind her. Looking back at the party below him, he looked hard at the man with the orange hair. I remember Gigi telling me that I was going to travel for a bit with Shitu Gigi and Numachi-san, but who is that guy? Gildarts-san, what was that? Numachi had walked up to the man and had started to rant at the man. You could have killed him. A man as strong as you shouldn't be so rash with their power? I'm sorry, but I kind of already told you. I need a good fight, bad, the man sighed, but it doesn't look like the brat can give me one though, shame. Thought that maybe I could get a few kicks out of him, being a ninja and all. Guess not though. Narrowing his eyes at the speaker, he let out a low snarl. Okay then, this is war. But in any case we better look for him, we don't want him to get lost. The man turned in the direction he had sent the blonde to receive a dropkick to the jaw, causing him to stumble backwards and look at the blonde with his own narrowed eyes before beginning to laugh, confusing him. Nice one, kid. I haven't gotten a clean hit on me like that in a while, but now. The man took a step forward and cracked his knuckles. You better hope you can run fast, kid. The blonde stared back, ding his ground. Come and get some then, carrot top. Easily provoked, the man ran at him, cocking his fist back to hit the blonde only to see the kid smirk more and hear him say something, almost in a whisper. Bunshin Deibakuha. Shadow clone explosion. Completely unsuspecting, he took the blunt force of the explosion, forcing him to shield his face and back up as he noted that he needed to watch out next time. Not half bad. I hope he isn't dead though, this kid will be a great punching bag. Gildarts looked up to see the blonde kid coming at him from the air, preparing to put a kick on his head. Bad move. Hey, you were doing pretty well before, kid. Gildarts looked up and stood up straight as the boy came closer, but you really underestimated me here. Naruto came in, closing the distance between him and Gildarts, his foot inches from his face. Only for the man to slap him away. HMHM. Gildarts looked in the direction the kid had flown. Great punching bag. This mission may not be so boring after all. Watching as he ran after Naruto, Shitu and Umachi looked on and sweat dropped. Did he really need to vent out that much? Afraid so, Umachi. Whoa, Naruto tried to think of a battle plan as he saw the man come into the forest. This guy took a straight explosion to the face, what the heck? Hey Gaki. Naruto looked down to see the man staring up at him, a grin plastered on his face. You'll have to better than that to hide from MHMPH. Naruto cut him off as he landed his foot on his face and jumped off, trying to put some distance from the two. There is no way I can take this guy. Not like this. Clap. Naruto looked back and realized the older man had grabbed his leg. Nice try. He looked in horror as the man began to swing him around, not hitting any trees thankfully, but it wasn't too fun. Especially when he let go. Gah! Naruto was sent flying headfirst into the brush, going through leaves and branches, until he finally hit the ground. Naruto stood up from his small dent in the ground and looked around him. No crazy strong guy, no trees, nothing. On the other hand, he saw a town not far from where he was standing. Gaki! Naruto shivered as he heard the man shout as he looked for him. Yeah, he needs some downtime. Seeing the man emerge from the forest in front of him didn't change his opinion. Dang it, this guy just doesn't stop. What happened with the explosions, Gaki? Gildarts taunted him. Come on, that actually tickled. If you don't do something interesting soon, this will just get boring. So he liked the explosions, huh? Naruto grew a smirk on his face. I'll show him explosions. Putting his hands together, he cried out, Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Multiple shadow clone jutsu. The older man raised an eyebrow as he saw thousands of different Narutos appear all around him. What type of monster is this kid? This is a kinjutsu and he just plays it casually. He got his own smirk. This might be more fun than I thought. What now, kid? He asked. Now that you have this one-man army, what's it going to do? Just rush in and attack like you would. He let out a sweat drop as the thousands of orange kids began to charge in. Really? The first blonde that came up to him he smacked aside with the back of his hand, which ended up taking down two more that were also in the path, and when bringing the hand back he took out more. This is too easy. The kid better have a plan or something, because this won't work. Looking at the oncoming hordes of blondes, he sighed. I don't want to break it to him too hard though. So troublesome. How am I going to tell him without looking like a jerk? He ducked around an assault of shuriken and kunai in order to smash the ground, causing short tremors that took out all the clones in his facing direction. This is going to be fun once he gets how to use it though. Turning around and smashing a fist into an oncoming blonde, he was surprised when he didn't burst into smoke. Instead, he promptly smirked and several other clones did the same. Boom. Watching from a tree off to the side, Naruto smirked as he saw the explosion his clones had made. No way he didn't get hurt with that one. Seeing the smoke continue to billow from the spot, he watched on with victory in his eyes. Until he saw feet emerge from the smoke, then legs, soon followed by the entire man himself. Without a scratch on him. What the heck? Naruto jumped down from his spot and pointed at him, his finger shaking. How could you not at least take some damage from that? That was the only thing I could friggin' do to hit you, and now it apparently doesn't do crap. Why? Naruto felt a hand on his shoulder and turned to see Umachi and Shitu at his side. Naruto-kun, you don't understand. Gildarts-san is one of the most powerful men in the world. There was no way for you to beat him after just becoming a genin. Shitu agreed. Kinjutsu aside, at your age not many could get this far. But I was powerless. Naruto fell to his knees and tears began to come from his eyes, just like yesterday with Iruka-sensei. He's dead because I couldn't defend myself, and I was completely useless the entire time. Then do something about it. Naruto looked up to see Gildarts standing in front of him. What do you think I did to get strong? Sat around and cried about how weak I was. How I felt useless in the grand scheme of things. Or do you think I trained my butt off and kicked myself in gear? Naruto sniffled as he continued to wipe away his tears. If you want something to happen in life, you got to do something about it yourself. Never count on somebody else doing it for you. While you should have people around you to help support the load, you should always remember that only you will be around yourself long enough to pick up baggage they leave behind. The man kneeled down in front of the boy and placed his hand on his shoulder. Losing someone close to you hurts. I know, I have lived through so many horrible things that I will never tell again, and you will live through worse. Or you might have already, I don't know. Use that as your driving force, because knowing where you don't want to go, or don't want to happen is a step closer to knowing where you want to go than you were before. Standing up, the man walked back to the road. Oh, and you might want to wipe those tears off before we go into town, kid. We don't want to look bad. Clenching his teeth, Naruto hit the ground with his fist before standing up. Umachi and Shitu looked on in worry as he walked down the road ahead of them. That might have worked out better than I thought, Shitu said, but it wasn't enough. While I don't expect Naruto to immediately forget about his loss, I was hoping Gildarts would be able to shift his attention from that. So, what now, Shitu Dono? Umachi asked. We move forward to Junction? Yes. Are you sure? The boy will be fine? I know, but are we sure? Oh, Umachi, Shitu chuckled. You'll just have to find out when we get there. Umachi sighed in defeat. Yes, Shitu Dono. Naruto is very strong for his age, Gildarts said to himself as he walked down the road. Umachi and Shitu not far behind him, and Naruto not far in front, very strong. But he is a loose cannon. He has no idea how to coordinate his attacks, which is why he kept landing single hits on me before running away. He looked forward and saw the blonde kid in question, Power, walking with clenched fists. I just hope he doesn't let his anger be kept up like this. I can't let him turn out like Ivan. I won't let him turn out like Ivan. Remembering Ivan gave him a spike of killer intent which hopefully nobody noticed, and I won't let him become anything less than what you would want, Minato. This kid will be a true man by the time I bring him to fury. Gildarts, Naruto thought to himself as he walked down the path. He annihilated me. I had no chance. He took my best attack and kept going. Remembering the battle, Naruto clenched his fists harder, and he didn't look scratched. Thinking about that battle wasn't the only thing on his mind though. Iruka's death was the main point of his entire frustration. Eternally banished from his home, his dream crushed, his innocence to the demon inside broken, and his weakness exposed. he was weak. That was the entire problem with his situation, he was weak. The entire encounter with Mizuki, that he remembered, he was getting dominated, running, or hiding. How could he think that he would have graduated with crap like that? Was that really all he could do? Now that he thought about it, until yesterday, it was. And truth be told, he needed to get himself in gear, because he would beat Gildarts one day, and prove himself. He would become strong. Hey kid. Naruto turned from his internal rant to see he had already reached the town. State your name and business, we don't like strangers. Oh, Naruto let off a sweat drop before turning and pointing down the road, I'm with them. What is your name? Josho Yajima. Naruto turned around and saw the rest of his party gathered behind him. Shitu was the speaker, that there is my grandson. Ah, I see, the man turned to the other two members, and you? Umashi. Hakate Yajima. And what is your business? Shitu stepped forward again. We have been traveling on the road for quite some time, and we hoped to rest before continuing to the next town. Permission granted. The man took out several slips of paper and handed one to each. Have a good day. As the party walked into the town, the Naruto turned to his grandfather. What was that about Shitu Jiji? Naruto asked. Why didn't you give them my name? Be quiet. Gildarts grabbed his head and pulled him close, speaking in whispers. Sandame has spread the word that you are dead. If we say your name in public, you might get found out. Gildarts released his headlock on him and he rubbed it. Geez, the guy really is strong. So what's the plan, Shitu-san? Gildarts asked. Should I go book a hotel for us while you go see the sights? The old man smirked in response at the hidden question. That would be excellent, Gildarts. All right then. Gildarts turned slightly. I trust Numachi will be enough of an envoy for this trip? Yes, Gildarts, he nodded. If I need you, you'll know. I'll take Naruto with me, I guess. Naruto felt a hand on his shoulder and turned to follow Gildarts, later Shitu-san. Take care. The group separated, leaving Naruto and Gildarts walking through the city to find a hotel of some sort. The town was somewhat lively, and the streets were lined with buildings, convenience stores, flower shops, a couple of cafes. It wasn't very dreary for a small town. But there was one thing that bugged him. The people, they weren't staring at him, or glaring, or bumping into him randomly, or throwing stuff at him, or saying things just so he could hear them, or anything. It was mind-boggling. How could they not hate him like Konoha? Why? Hey Gaki. Naruto turned away from his thoughts and looked up to Gildarts. Okay. Just making sure you were awake. Anyway, I see a place over there. The older man nodded his head in its direction, and Naruto turned towards it, seeing a small building with the name Comfort Lander written across the top of the doorframe. Walking with the older man, Naruto approached the building and walked in. He was immediately overwhelmed with a powerful scent, fluff and sweet perfume. Looking around though, it was nothing but wood. It didn't even look like the wood had finishing on it. The lobby was somewhat bare, having only a few wooden chairs and what he assumed was the main desk, which wasn't that fancy itself, but then again the place wasn't very fancy anyway. May I help you? Naruto turned his attention to a man with short brown hair, black eyes, and a tan skin. He wore a white dress shirt and khaki pants, brown sandals, and had a cigar in his mouth. Yes, Gildarts replied politely. Do you have any rooms available? The man started tapping his fingers on the desk. How many you need? 2. Method of payment? Touch. Name? Gildarts Clive. Coming right up, the man started using both of his hands on the desk at once, suddenly stopping to push 2 keys towards him, seemingly appearing from nowhere. Room numbers are written on the keys. Have a nice day. The man slumped in his chair and snapped as a staircase fell from the ceiling, causing Naruto to jump. No concern of customer safety around here. Thank you, sir. Gildarts waved over his back as he ascended the stairs with Naruto close behind. Reaching the top of the staircase, Naruto put his head through the hole to find himself in a similar place to where he was before. Wooden floors, wooden walls, nothing interesting. They were in a hallway of some sorts with doors and numbers on either side. Noticing Gildarts duck every once in a while as they walked, he wondered why this place had so many rooms if the conditions were so crappy. How do they manage to get income like this? He thought, is it some special low rate or something? My apartment was better than this. Looking to his companion, he watched Gildarts laugh. These hotels are the best around. They're essentially for elites only, since only wanderers and people that already know the chain actually stay after they walk in. The Lander chain is in a class of its own compared to what you know about housing. What do you mean, best? All I see is wood, wood, and wood. Naruto replied stingily. There weren't even any cushions on the chairs in the lobby? I'm not a spoiled brat or anything, but that is ridiculous. You'll see. The two stopped as Gildarts took one of the keys and slid it in the wooden lock, twisting it, and opening the room. Oh my, what the? Naruto stood in bewilderment as he looked into the room and saw the exact opposite of everything he had seen throughout the entire hotel. Soft, fluffy cushions everywhere. Forget that. The whole room looked like it was painted gold. It had 2 master beds and a soft green carpet floor. As soon as you entered and took a right, there was a bathroom, shower area, and if you kept going you found yourself in the bedroom, which had the beds, 2 coffee tan couches of pure soft, 3 chairs, a desk, and several lamps around it and a large TV in the middle. Wow. Told you, kid. Gildarts took off the small sack on his back and laid down on one of the beds, but that's not all. Naruto looked in interest as Gildarts picked up the remote by the bed and flicked the TV on, showing the face of the man at the counter. Hey, room service order for room 213, Gildarts smirked as Naruto awed at the idea that they communicated through the TV. Yes sir, just select the items on the menu with your remote. The screen of the man shrunk to half size as a menu of various food appeared on the right, taking half the screen. Depending on the line, the chef, and the food you select, it could be about 30 minutes before your order comes in. Naruto frowned. That was a long time. But Gildarts' smirk grew larger. That's an extreme maximum, correct? Of course. Naruto perked up at the man's reply. Thank you, have a nice day. With that, the menu came up and the man started clicking several items that seemed of interest to him before handing the remote to Naruto. Pick out whatever you want, just don't stuff yourself so bad you'll have trouble walking tomorrow. Taking the remote and scrolling down the menu, he looked for something interesting. Not sushi, not eggs, not soup. Then he spotted it. Ramen. Gildarts looked at the boy in surprise when he saw him mashing the "okay" button like his life depended on it. Whoa, you sure you can eat all that? Uh-huh. No, are you sure you can eat more than 20 bowls of ramen? The boy stopped clicking momentarily and turned to him. Is that a trick question? Gildarts sighed as the remote was put in his hand again, pressing several buttons before the menu showed a message saying their order was placed and gave the price, which caught Naruto's attention briefly. Naruto, we need to talk. Naruto looked over to Gildarts. About what? I'm sorry about you in Konoha, Gildarts said, and I'm sure it's a touchy subject from now on, but what do you want to do now? Huh? Naruto looked at him as if taken aback. What do you mean? I mean, what do you want to do in life? Gildarts continued. You will be traveling with us for a while, but you need to think ahead and determine what you want to do when we are done here. Naruto looked at his open hands before clenching them. I want to become strong. To do what? Naruto continued to look down. You have to have a goal, Naruto. Just becoming strong is something that leads to madmen. The world is much bigger than you think it is. Iruka-sensei, Naruto muttered. It's for Iruka-sensei. Are you talking about revenge? Gildarts shifted in his seat on the bed. If that's what you mean? No. Gildarts stopped as Naruto continued, intrigued by his immediate response. Not for revenge. Then what for? To keep more people like him from dying. Naruto looked into Gildarts' eyes with a bold fierceness on his face. I need to become strong to prevent this type of thing from happening to me again. The two sat in silence before Gildarts stood up, looking down at the boy. That's a tall order, kid. How do you plan to accomplish it? Naruto sighed. I don't know. Gildarts sat down next to him. Will you let me train you? Naruto looked over to the man next to him and saw that he was honest. Really? Yes, but there are a few conditions. Gildarts held up one finger. I will not teach you my crash magic. It is something that I and only I can do. It's similar to a bloodline limit. Second, Gildarts put up his second finger. You must acknowledge the Sandame's wish to leave Konoha. I know it may be more difficult than I make it out to be, but this is something you're going to do anyway. Naruto looked down. But even if I leave and go with you, I still want to be a ninja. I can't just leave that behind. Gildarts smiled. That is something the Sandame expected. Huh? Naruto watched Gildarts get up and walk over to his small bag. What do you mean? He knew you would still want to be a ninja, Naruto. He suddenly tossed a small scroll to him, so he left me with this. Grabbing the scroll out of the air, Naruto opened it and looked inside. The first thing he saw was a note. Dear Naruto, so you decided to continue being a ninja That's my boy? I knew you wouldn't leave what you've dreamed of behind, so I packed this scroll for you. You may be wondering what this scroll contains beside the letter though. Look directly below the letter Naruto. Stopping and looking down, he saw a seal of some sort, full of kanji. That is a seal. Seals can do many things, and this seal can store things. It has no end. There are many seals in this scroll, Naruto. Starting from the first one down, I will give you guidance to your progress as a shinobi. To unseal a storage seal, apply chakra to it with your fingers. The item inside should appear afterwards. These seals are specially designed for your chakra, but that doesn't mean Gildarts or any of your new friends can't look over them. Good luck. Sarutobi Hiruzen. Naruto looked up from the letter and saw Gildarts continue to smile. Rule number 3. You must learn everything in that scroll. What? Naruto looked at him funny before unrolling the scroll, seeing more, and more, and more, and more. There was seemingly an infinite amount. This is insane. Rule number 4. Gildarts continued despite Naruto's protests. You are expected to train yourself with the ninja stuff. I can help, but this is your department. That's okay, I guess. Naruto looked at him expectantly. Is that it? Yup. Gildarts smiled again. Sandame, I will watch over the kid. We will take care of him. I don't know how to answer your request. In the midst of a dark room, two shite-haired men, one short and one tall, one balding and one long, sat talking to each other in the presence of a toad. It honors me that you would ask me, but this is something to talk over with the Hokage. Jiraiya-sama, Shittu replied. There are circumstances that prevent me and my party from going to Konoha. If your spy network is as legendary as they say, you should know. I do. The man seemed calm, but his fists were clenched. The Jinchuriki died while trying to fight off enemy ninja. But how does this relate to what we are talking about? This has very much to do with a treaty between our countries, Jiraiya-sama, he continued, for the boy was entrusted to Fury for his own safety. Jiraiya leaned forward in his chair. What? From what Sarutobi told me, the village would become too dangerous for him if he returned after the betrayal of one Leaf Ninja, and the death of another. Let alone the fact that both were his sensei. Shittu looked solemn. The boy is heartbroken at the injuries of his one sensei. The other man held his head. This is grounds to institute a treaty, and it would be secret as you want. He paused. But I don't know how easy it will be to get this treaty without a certain curiosity and suspicion arising about it. But Sarutobi Gigi pulled a fast one. He smirked, knew he had it in him. I understand that it may be difficult on your end, he replied, but it will be for us also. Having secret treaties as a neutral country is a risky move. We still also be at risk politically. Indeed, Jiraiya nodded sagely. I do have one request though concerning the boy. The boy? Shittu smiled. So I guess that Gildarts was correct about his Yondaime's legacy idea. You're his godfather, correct? Yes. The man sighed, although I haven't been a good one. The council scares Gigi and he thinks that the village will retaliate behind his back if we did something, but now I have a chance. The two men locked eyes. I accept your wish, Shittu-sama, but in turn I would ask you to accept mine. Which is? I want to train the boy. When? Jiraiya stood from his seat. Whenever is best. He turned to leave, but looked back. Give the Magic Council my best regards." Shitu laughed. "I will." Watching the other man leave, Shitu stood himself. "Well, now that that's over," he looked to Numachi, who was beside him. "We should hit the road again. The guys of the trip might give way soon to these foreign countries. Setting up contacts in all these different places is difficult." "But we have already done many so far," Umachi chimed in, "and Gildarts only knows of this last one. We only have several small countries we actually have to go to in order to establish connections with before we head home." "Home," Shitu sighed before chuckling. "Oh, the memories, good old times." Cut. I posted this one out of boredom, which is funny to me since I managed to get more chapters out in a single day than Ichiruki Ramen, like. Couple of important notes to this chapter. Also, thank you everyone who reviewed the story, since that was the only reason I could get this chapter out. Would have been sooner if I had not been met with RL. Crunch. Random cookies. Laughing face, ch4. Mix-ups and mishaps. To be simple, I'm going to put a generic disclaimer here. If I owned Naruto, Bleach, or anything that earned me money, I would try to introduce too many unique ideas and have that position taken away from me. So the only thing I own is the plot and a few OCs. Prologue is over, and with that comes a time skip of a few years. I'm not sure exactly how long it is, but that can be specified in later chapters. For now, here's chapter 4. Demons. Summons. Powerful people, like meet Shiki smiley face, flashback, emphasis. Jutsu, magic, techniques ch4. Mix-ups and mishaps. You what? The group of bandits laughed at the scene before them. After pulling the blonde teen aside, he asked if they would just give him their money and leave, with a straight face. He seemed to have a muscular build, but with an orange outfit like his, how could they take him seriously? "Kid, you might want to just give us what money you have and let us get on our way." The blonde was dressed in an orange, short-sleeved hoodie with black stripes down his shoulders to the wrists and down the zipper on th front. Under the hoodie he had black sleeves. He also wore orange pants and black sandals. Giving the bandits a bored facial expression, he replied, "You know there isn't any point in even talking to me, because I'm not here anymore. You guys suck at gauging your opponent's strengths." One of the bandits gave him a funny look. "What do you mean you're not here? You haven't moved since you said something." The blonde sighed. "As a disclaimer, I am doing this in self-defense. If any of you approach me, I will explode into flames and you might die. I am a ticking time bomb." One of the thugs reached out and grabbed him by the collar, pulling him to his face as he pulled out a knife. "Any last words, runt?" The blonde deadpanned him. Boom. The bandits had no idea what hit them as the explosion rocked the alley, and the sound resonated throughout the town, drawing the attention of the crowds of people instantly. Looking off from the side, Naruto smirked. Fighting had never been so easy since training with Gildarts sensei. Those guys were toast the minute they tried something funny. As the crowd began to grow larger, he decided to move on, worried he might come to suspicion. He had tried the blast radius down, but he didn't have much control over the power of his Bunshin Daibaku, clone explosion, technique yet. Weaving through the crowds, Naruto chuckled to himself. So this is Magnolia. He looked around. I can see why he doesn't stay long. Gildarts sensei doesn't like crowds. Remembering his sensei brought Naruto back to the task at hand. Guess I better keep going. Feeling that his mission had been too short, Gildarts had split up with Naruto and had gone with Shitu and Umachi back to Era to get another S-class mission, this time straight from the council itself, muttering something about international conflicts and guildmasters. But he had given Naruto a letter with the completed request and his findings in it to give to his guildmaster, who was at Fairy Tail. This place is huge, he thought to himself. Do they sell maps here or something? Turning a corner and finding himself in what looked like the town square, he looked up and down the street before sighing. Where the heck is this place? Realizing he had shouted it to the world, he sweat dropped. What are you looking for? Well, I was looking for. Naruto turned around and found himself facing two older teens. The first one, who had spoken, had spiky pink hair, in a similar manner to his own, a white scarf, a sleeveless black waistcoat with orange trimmings, and a similar cloth that went from his waist down, but still showing his white trousers and black sandals. The second teen had long blonde hair, much lighter than his, that had a blue ribbon tied in it on her right side. She wore a white sleeveless shirt with a collar with two blue lines on it, one going straight down through the middle and the other going right across her torso to the middle, along with a blue mini skirt, a brown belt with a big key ring on it and a whip, and black high-heel boots. Fairy tale. But I have no idea where it is in this place, it's so big. The male teen grinned. You're looking for fairy tale? You got just the right guys. We are fairy tale mages. Naruto jumped when he heard the unseen voice come from behind him, turning around to find no one. Happy, you scared him. Naruto turned back around to see a flying cat be scolded by the blonde teen. Don't do that. The cat said nothing momentarily and there was a brief pause. Suddenly it appeared on Natsu's back. Lucy is scary. No, I am not. Naruto laughed at the strange behavior of the cat as the older teen tried to grab and presumably strangle it. What's with the flying cat? Oh, this is Happy. The pink-haired teen grabbed the cat out of the air and out of the other teen's warpath. And that's Lucy, and my name is Natsu. Nice to meet you. The younger teen smiled. I'm Naruto, by the way. Natsu tilted his head in confusion. You mean fish cake? Fish? Happy looked at Naruto funny. Does that mean if I eat him he'll taste like fish? Naruto's eyebrow twitched. No, more like maelstrom. The cat pouted, muttering something about fish and mean blondes. Could you show me where Fairy Tail is? Are you going to join? The female teen asked. Is that why you're looking for us? I'm not planning on it, Naruto replied, but I have a message for your guildmaster from my sensei. He said it was important. Well, anyway, Natsu looked down, but he didn't show it. We just finished a job, so we're heading back to the guild now. Want to tag along? Sure. Naruto fell in stride with the two mages as they continued towards the guild. What did you have to do? Fight monsters? Save villages? Defeat legendary warriors in Mortal Kombat? Natsu slumped, and Lucy answered for him. No, Naruto, we had to destroy a book. What? Naruto looked at her confused. How is that a mission? Well, you see. And we technically didn't even finish the mission because the book wasn't destroyed, Lucy concluded, leaving Naruto looking at her dumbfounded. Did she just tell that entire story without taking a break between words? Hearing her take a large breath, his sweat dropped. Guess not. You tell good stories, Lucy-chan. Naruto replied, still surprised at the speed that she told it with. Maybe you should write books. You'd be a great author. Naruto saw weird looks be exchanged between her and Natsu and Happy. Trying to find a way to get out of the awkwardness to come, he looked ahead. Hey look, there it is. Naruto pointed a few blocks down and spotted the famous orange and white emblem banner on a building. I found it before either of you could spot it. That's our guild, Natsu replied. The awkward moment he feared passed. Guess we better show you in. Walking past them, Natsu opened the doors and walked in, Lucy and Naruto in tow. Naruto's first impression of the guild. Jolly. When he walked in, the first thing, and only thing, he saw was the bar, cafeteria area of the guild, where lots of guild members were drinking and being merry. The roof was very high up for some reason, and there was a second floor past what looked like where the guild master sat. Speaking of which, hey Natsu, you know where? Naruto looked over to find Natsu knocking heads with another guy who wore nothing. Put some clothes on, gray. A woman from a table called out. She had long brown hair and wore a sky blue bikini top and scarlet brown shorts. What the? The man, now identified as Gray, looked down at himself. When did I? Sucker. Naruto watched on as Natsu suddenly smashed into him with a flaming punch from his right hand. Karyu no Tekken. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. The man without clothes was sent flying, and Naruto turned to the only other person he knew, only to see her standing and blushing furiously. Lucy-chan, are you alright? You liked? Happy appeared out of nowhere and pointed accusingly at the older blonde. I knew you were a pervert, Lucy. Shut up, Happy. Seeing no good from this situation, Naruto took his new friend by the arm and led her to a table and sat her down, sitting next to her and trying to avoid the chaos around him, because apparently Natsu and Gray had caused more of a ruckus than he thought they would. Sucker. Natsu sent Gray flying as the fist left his face, which caught the attention of another spectator. Sucker punches are not manly. Natsu. Natsu turned towards the source to get hit by the fist by a tall, bulky man in navy blue clothing, resembling something out of high school. Just like Gray before him, he was sent flying into a wall. But you just sucker punched me, Elfman. Natsu yelled back from his dent in the guild wall. What the heck? I thought you said it was unmanly. It is only unmanly if it is done to a manly person. He pointed accusingly to Natsu. That sucker punch made you both unmanly. I'll show you. Natsu lunged at Elfman and landed a punch to him, sending him into the crowd of women surrounding Loke, who in turn fell on, hit him. Natsu. Elfman yelled, that wa unman. Elfman, you forget. Elfman turned around when he felt a tap on his shoulder, only to find another blow that sent him away, revealing a very ticked guy with orange hair, glasses, and a green jacket. Interrupting a date is unmanly. Eventually all blows involved sending the receiver into another guildmate who would join the squabble. It was hard to tell who was winning, if at all, and what to expect next. Seeing a random guild member fly towards them, Naruto caught and dropped the man before he could hit Lucy. Is someone going to stop this anytime soon? Almost magic to his ears, the ruckus immediately stopped and everyone seemed to freeze. I understand stopping randomly, but why? Naruto turned to the direction they all faced and saw part of the reason they might be scared. A woman with long red hair in armor, carrying a large animal horn easily 10 times as large as herself, was looking into the guild. And to be honest, he didn't want to deal with the scary pissed lady either. Is this the master? Where is the master? Oh, never mind. He's at the guild master's meeting in Clovertown. Urza, a girl in a pink dress and gray hair, spoke up, seemingly unfazed by the fear in the room. Welcome back. Seemingly ignoring her, she walked straight down the center of the hall. Kana, stop drinking like that. The woman in question quickly put down the barrel of alcohol and seemingly disappeared. Loke, quit bringing all these. Urza pointed in the general area of the female populace and gestured them to get out. Lovely Magnolia citizens into our guild. Especially with all the ruckus that can happen, like just now. The female and orange-haired populace disappeared as well, and the woman continued to walk forward, nearing Naruto and Lucy. Speaking of ruckus, Natsu, Gr. The woman stopped mid-step as she stood next to the table with the two blondes. Seeing Natsu and Gray suddenly stop clinging to each other kind of made him wonder what this meant. Excuse me, she turned to them. I don't think I have seen you here before. Are you new members? I am. Lucy waved awkwardly, before chuckling even more awkwardly. I'm Lucy. Urza, the redhead now known as Urza, grabbed and shook her hand. Good to know that our guild is still prospering. Naruto's sweat dropped when he saw Lucy flail about while shaking Urza's hand, and seeing her turn to him made him feel uncomfortable. Is this your younger brother? Wa? Naruto held up his hands in protest. No, I'm Naruto. Pleasure to meet you also, Naruto-kun. The words were torture to his ears as his hand began to go numb and he felt himself flailing about, losing his sense of balance until the shaking stopped. By the time he had gathered himself and looked around, he noticed several things. 1. Urza was gone. 2. Natsu and Gray were in a buddy-buddy position, pale, eyes bulged, and very pale. 3. The rest of the guild was normal. Naruto let another sweat drop fall as he turned to Lucy. What did I miss? I can't believe I'm doing this, Naruto said as he walked to the train station with Lucy, whom he had spotted along the way. What in the world managed to get me sucked up into guild business? It's not that bad, Naruto-kun, Lucy replied, trying to cheer him up. I mean, even if Urza might be scary, and we have no idea what the mission is, if she really is strong then we should be fine. Yeah, I know we'll be fine, he continued, but I wasn't planning on getting involved in anything. I just needed to deliver that letter to the master so I could figure out where Sensei is. Hey look, it's the train station. Naruto looked up and saw the train station up ahead, and from the flying cat in the air above the crowd he could tell that they wouldn't be the first ones there. And seeing the outburst of fire and ice he could tell they wouldn't be second either. Walking into the area he saw exactly what he expected, semi-crowded area and a huge open area around Natsu and Gray, who were knocking heads among throwing weak punches at each other. Pervert. Circus act. Striper. Wait wah. Naruto sighed as Natsu got another sucker punch on his rival. I guess that is something to remember for later. Stop striping. Naruto watched in laughter as Lucy started reorganizing Gray's facial features. This might not be so bad after all. Natsu, Gray. As the voice entered the air the said fairy tale mages linked arms and grinned widely in a cold sweat. Guess why? I'm glad you are getting along. The red-headed woman came into Naruto's view and he almost fell over, seeing the giant amount of luggage she had been pulling behind her. Now help me put this on board. Massive sweat drop. Urza. Natsu stepped forward bravely, surprising Naruto. I have one condition for going on this mission. She looked at him seriously. Which would be? Natsu grinned. You have to fight me. Everyone else gave Natsu a look while Urza smirked. Alright Natsu. I need to test you anyway, said Boy let out a victory shout. Do you also want to challenge me, Gray? The black-haired mage held up his hands in protest. And no, I'm good Urza. Everyone's attention was directed to the train when the horn rang out loud and clear, along with Natsu. I am so getting motion sickness. Naruto couldn't help but wonder about the walking oddball that was Natsu. The moment he had triumphantly jumped onto the train he had suddenly become wobbly and pale, and eventually when they all were on the train it worsened. Natsu. Urza sat down next to the window of the train. Sit next to me. Okay. Natsu swayed over to the seat almost falling on the table, but Urza pulled him next to her and Gray, Naruto and Lucy sat on the other side. Good. Urza kept a straight face as she promptly slammed his head into her armored lap, knocking him out. That should help with your stomach. Naruto decided to ignore the strange behaviors of the mages around him and get straight to the point. What is this mission about, Urza-san? On my way back from my last mission I stopped at a bar in Onibu's town. Remembering the giant souvenir she brought home from it, Naruto couldn't deny her the right to go to a bar, however old she was. While I was there I overheard a discussion about a forbidden magical item sealed by the Magic Council, lullaby. What about it? I'm not sure what they plan to do with it, Urza continued, but I heard Aragorn come up in the conversation. Aragorn? Naruto cut in. What significance does that have? He is also known as the Shinigami, the ace of the Dark Guild. Eisenwald, Gray answered. But what do the Dark Guilds have to do with this? Dark Guilds? Naruto found this interesting. He had heard Sensei talk about various things to watch out for when traveling in Fury, and Dark Guilds was one of the top. I'm not sure, Urza replied, but if a magical item such as lullaby is involved, it could amount to anything, which is why I wanted to bring you all. Urza looked down at the knocked-out Natsu on her lap. I planned on going to defeat Eisenwald, but I don't believe I have the power to do it on my own. Natsu and Gray would have been enough, but now we have a guaranteed victory. Speaking of magic, Lucy chimed in. I've seen Natsu's magic and it isn't something I've ever seen before. What do you use, Urza? Urza uses beautiful magic, Happy chimed in. It makes lots of blood. Naruto looked at the cat. Creepy. My magic? Urza asked. Beautiful? Maybe, but the most beautiful is Gray's magic. She gestured to the dark-haired mage. Gray smirked and calmly placed his closed fist on an open palm as Lucy and Naruto watched, opening it to reveal a glimmering ice replica of the fairy tale insignia. Wow. Lucy looked at it with big eyes. That stuff looks good enough to wear. Naruto kept looking with his own thoughts. Ice? Back home all we had was the basic 5. Does this mean that magic itself has fewer boundaries than ninjutsu? Naruto suddenly took on a whole new awe as he looked at the ice and he raised his own question. How did you learn that? Gray looked up at him. Aisu Maiku? I make? I learned it from my teacher. He took on a grim expression briefly before continuing, but it took a lot of dedication. like Pinky over there with his Dragon Slayer magic. Groans of protest and sickness were mumbled in response, but no one heard them. Dragon Slayer? Lucy asked. What type of magic is that? The type that is taught by dragons, of course. Naruto started chuckling at his own joke until the silence kicked in. Wait, what? I was just joking. Dragons really teach you how to slay dragons. Apparently, Urza replied. Dragons use only one element, but become practically immune to all others. That is why the magic is called Dragon Slayer, since the dragon's own style is its greatest weakness. But other Dragon Slayer magic is also very effective against them, while regular magic tends to be non-existent. That's frightening. Naruto relaxed in his seat. Good thing I won't have to fight any dragons, I would get my ass kicked. In some currently undemolished location, a big, black dragon sneezed. In our main character's current location, the station came into view. That's our stop up ahead, Urza commented as she looked out the train window. I'll help you unload your stuff, Urza-san, Naruto offered, seeing as she had enough to deal with. Natsu. Thank you, Urza replied. It's towards the back of the train. Just ask one of the conductors if you need help. Okay then. Naruto got up and started walking towards the end of the train. Naruto. The back of the train is the other way. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto said as he entered the end of the train, created a miniature army of clones after he finished describing his situation to the conductor stationed there. Make sure you get everything off though, the conductor said. Because we won't be docked for long, and it looks like setting the ramp for this mini army of yours will be an experience. No need, Naruto replied. I can get off like a regular person as long as I can exit through the other cars, thank you. Have a good day, the conductor waved to the young blondes as they carried the luggage out to the next car. I could have sworn I've heard that name somewhere before though. Naruto Uzumaki. Here you go, Urza-san. Naruto's army had finished exiting the train as it began to take off, unloading the massive luggage onto the area immediately around them. This should be it. This is an interesting magic, Naruto, Urza observed as Naruto's clones began to mock fight each other and goof around in the train station lobby. What is it called? It's not a single magic, Urza-san, Naruto replied. It's kind of secret though, so I can't tell you now. Maybe when I leave I can show you. Hey boss. Naruto turned around to see his army of clones looking at him rather worriedly. What is it? He was answered with a large puff of smoke and a flood of memories and experiences, causing him to suddenly start running in the direction of the train. We forgot Natsu. Shit. Gray realized the situation as Urza suddenly disappeared. This isn't good. We'll never be able to catch up to that thing on foot, Naruto. Gray cursed as he realized that the blonde couldn't hear him, as he was already a good distance out. Damn it, where did Urza? VROOMMM. VROOMMM. What the? He barely managed to jump out of the way as a four-man green magic four-wheeler appeared from the crowd. Urza in the driver's seat. Big surprise there. Get in, both of you, Urza said urgently, and put your clothes on, Gray. Looking down, Gray proceeded to give himself a royal face palm as he saw Lucy standing next to him, fuming. I have got to break this habit. Where am I? A Naruto clone muttered to himself as he tried to figure out where all his brethren had gone to. I can't dispel since I have to keep the luggage safe, doggone it, why me? Walking into the next car, he found himself in the presence of two people. One of which was Natsu. Natsu? Naruto walked over and tried to shake him awake. Oi, Natsu. Huh? Natsu said dully. Naruto? Where's everyone else? They left the train already, Naruto replied, suddenly feeling the train shift under his feet. Whoa. Hey, I'm talking to you. Naruto turned around and saw what looked like Shikamaru? Naruto said, disbelieving. What are you doing here? Not only do you ignore me, but now you call me names. The man who was apparently not Shikamaru was now standing in Naruto's face. Should have known you regular guilds wouldn't be able to show a bit of decency to us dark guilds. Dark guilds? Natsu. Get this back to, looking back to his companion. He realized that his motion sickness had kicked in again, causing him to curse. As he turned back around to face the Dark Guild member, only to see his fist enter his face, with a symbol written in purple ink, Eisenwald's. What type of crap is this? Kageyama started to wave his hand around in attempt to clear the smoke bombs. What type of trick is that? He stopped his rant momentarily as he saw Natsu still lying on the seat sickly, raising his eyebrows. He left you behind, Wimp. Kageyama stomped his foot on Natsu's gut. This is for the Dark Guilds. He immediately wished he had not done that, considering the fact that Natsu was laying down so that it was his stomach that was hit, along with the fact that he was horribly motion sick. For some reason Kageyama was surprised when a spout of vomit emerged from Natsu's mouth, covering his lower leg entirely. What the F? Kageyama moved to escape the horrible projectile, but in Natsu's natural reaction to both the vomit and the low blow, he sat up, keeping Kageyama in his range and himself out of it. It was disgusting. Kageyama looked at his hands in disgust, realizing he could not even reach up and pull out his hair in frustration. You will pay for this, you piece of Sweden. Teppodama, water style, liquid bullet. Instead of finding himself facing the pink-haired mage who had barfed on him, Kageyama found himself facing a massive blast of water, knocking him out cold. What the heck, Natsu? Naruto shivered from the windowsill in disgust as he saw the new interior design of the area around his motion-sick friend. That was uncalled for, and completely disgusting. Swowie. Natsu tried to talk as his motion sickness overcame him. It was on accident. It's okay, I guess. Naruto shivered again. Just make sure to wash your mouth out as soon as you can, okay? Your breath stinks. Naruto looked out of the car from his perch on the windowsill and saw a magic four-wheeler approach. Is Natsu there? Yeah, Naruto replied. He needs to clean himself up though. Gray, can you make a bowl of ice so Natsu can wash his mouth out? Sure, I guess, Gray replied. But what for? Naruto disappeared into the car for a bit, pulling Natsu out slightly. Some guy kicked him in the stomach. He was motion sick. Gross. Lucy shivered. Gray, have fun cleaning up Natsu. Incoming. Lucy had no time to dodge as Natsu was thrown into the car, crashing into her and knocking her over, leaving Gray the one laughing. There's another guy in here, from Eisenwald. Naruto pointed into the car. I'll throw him out in a minute, he might know something. From his place in the four-wheeler, Gray saw the car fill up with water. After rubbing his eyes he couldn't see it though, but instead saw Naruto holding out a man with black hair similar to a pineapple. Naruto pulled back his arms before thrusting forward, sending their new, tied-up hostage into Gray with perfect aim. Don't drop him, Gray, he's fragile. He's also soaked to the bone, Gray thought as he tried to get the unconscious man off of him. What was that I saw back there? After having gotten everyone off the train, Urza had parked the magic four-wheeler on the side of the pass and was observing the flute they had found on his person. No doubt about it, Urza said as she examined the flute in her hands. This is lullaby. Now what? Lucy asked. We got the flute, so are we still going to after Eisenwald? For now, we wait, Urza replied. Until we know what they were planning to do with lullaby, we are going to pursue them. To actually send someone to take it from the Magic Council storeroom and be successful. This must have been something they have been planning for a long time. She looked down at their knocked-out captive, and he must know something. We're totally going to kick their asses. Natsu punched his open palm. They won't stand a chance. Naruto observed his teammates with a smile on his face as he went off into his own thoughts. I wonder how everyone at home is. The train had only pulled into Kunugi Station moments ago, and as soon as it had pulled in a man with spiky gray hair sticking up on his head, and a bang of the same color covering his left eye, had gotten on board. It was a funny thing how none of the staff members pulled him over for not wearing a shirt, which showed a faintly muscular build and blue tattoos, but when one saw the wicked scythe he was carrying with him you could guess why. Walking through the car, the man walked over to the left side, standing over a passenger. Were you successful, Kageyama? Of course, the dark-haired man smirked, reaching in his jacket, Those fools in the council would never realize it was gone. The pineapple head proceeded to pull out something that made the other man smirk. Lullaby. Good work. The man sat down next to him and placed his scythe against the armrest of his seat. Everything in Onibu's station is going according to plan. At this rate we'll face no resistance at all. Kageyama smirked in response. Of course, Aragorn. There is no way we could let this chance fly. Master Makarov. A random staff member called out, "There is a message waiting for you." "Oh," he replied. "Who from?" Clover Town was famous for its hosting of the Guildmasters Convention, as they called it, but that was not why the town was originally famous. No, it was famous for the quality recreational rooms available to Fiore's little pocket agencies, kids' parties, and all because of its great service and quality. The main building of this quality was called Lounge Lander, apparently a part of the hitchhiker's dream chain, Lander. It was also known for its amazing technology. "Your guild, sir," he replied. "Mirajane, I believe it was." The guildmaster nodded before jumping off his stool and walking with the man towards the communications center, which was also rather refined, a room with 10 crystal balls that allowed users to talk to one another face to face, similar to the magic Miru. To see, that was developed based on foreign techniques. "Hello, Mirajane." Makarov spoke into the crystal ball. "Is something wrong?" "Oh no, Master Makarov," Mirajane replied, her voice slightly different over the communications line. "Nothing wrong, but something interesting. Apparently someone is trying to deliver you a letter." "A letter?" Makarov raised an eyebrow. "Do you have it?" "No, he didn't stay long." Mirajane smiled nervously. Urza thought he was a guild member and forced him on a mission with her along with Natsu, Gray, and an actual new member, Lucy. "She did she?" The master sat in contemplation momentarily. "Wait, she took Gray and Natsu?" "She didn't say why," Mirajane replied, "but she sounded urgent, so I let her go." "How in Kami's name does this happen while I'm away?" Makarov sighed. "Thank you for telling me, Mirajane. I appreciate being updated." "Oh, and another thing, Master," she cut in before he could sign off. "I'm not sure if this will affect you or not, but it seems the Rune Knights have sent a squad to Onibu's station not far from Clover Town." "It's all right, Mirajane," Makarov smiled. "We already know about the situation and we'll be fine. Don't worry about us." "Okay then," she replied cheerfully. "Bye, Master." Makarov cut the connection and sighed. "Something wrong, Makarov?" Makarov turned to see one of his old teammates, Goldmine, in the doorway. "Nothing wrong, Goldmine," Makarov replied. "I'm just concerned that one of my guild members hasn't returned from a mission yet. It was supposed to be over a while ago." "They'll be fine. We all know you have the finest, Makarov," Goldmine replied. "Well, except my guild maybe." The two guildmasters laughed and talked as they made their way back to the conference room, where the other guildmasters were doing the same thing Goldmine and Makarov were doing. Good times, even though it was something the Magic Council had dominion over. Cut. Kind of boring for the first chapter after the prologue, but hey, no worries, managed to update in less than 48 hours of posting my last update, which was like the first 3 chapters. Couple of important notes to this chapter. The time skip allows for me to play with Naruto's knowledge of ninjutsu while keeping him at whatever level of power I choose, along with little things here and there I can mess with later, like Omake. If you liked Happy's dialogue in this chapter, I would like to just say that, when I had originally planned the dialogue, I actually forgot about him. So if you liked it, speak up. The guild fight scene was hard to write up, but I think that it was a decent start. I've tried writing these in one RST person before and it is so hard, that's why I had to do the recap to explain it all. The luggage thing with Urza was always something that I looked into as a possible device. Why the heck would she carry all that luggage onto the train only to leave it there? Was it all strawberry cake in disguise and she ate it on the train, nom, before they left or something? Lol, the possibilities. Yes, I let him learn Teppodama, and yes, there was no source of water around. This does not make him some super epic water affinity guy, but I consider Teppodama a low-level technique that can be manipulated to make it more powerful. Lols on Gray. Juvia is jealous of Lucy. Asterisk yes. The lander chain is something that will be a common device used to implement interesting locations or edit scenes, such as this ending one with Makarov, so don't forget about them. I made it up by the way. Miru. To see, is a magic I created to compare the technology to, since I remember a technique Makarov had used to talk to Mirajane in the canon but couldn't remember it. Ironically, this story has more views than the story I posted the other day, by a difference of like 500. But then again, this one had more content, and the Fairy Tail X Naruto community is rather small. Good chapter? Yes, no, maybe write a review while you're trying to determine its level of horrible epicness? Also thank you to Lednicek for pointing out a few grammatical errors on my part. I always hated English, but now I guess I have a reason to care again, don't I? Crunch. Random cookies. Laughing face, ch5. Advent of Eisenwald. To be simple, I'm going to put a generic disclaimer here. If I owned Naruto, Bleach, or anything that earned me money, I would try to introduce too many unique ideas and have that position taken away from me. So the only thing I own is the plot and a few OCs. Lots of action, my own unique plot ideas, and most importantly. I forgot. Oh well, Chapter 5 of TOF WWOF is here. Demons, summons, powerful people. Like me, cheeky smiley face, flashback, emphasis. Jutsu, magic, techniques ch5. Advent of Eisenwald. Ga. Kageyama woke up with a start as a foot implanted itself into his gut, evicting a shout of pain from him. Good morning, sleepyhead, Naruto commented from off to the side, resisting the urge to laugh as Natsu retracted his foot. Have a nice nap? I swear I'll do what? Kageyama stopped mid-sentence as he saw someone he knew he was meant to fear. The armored Titania. Urza, do you think you'll just tell us nicely what your guild was up to with this? Kageyama looked up and saw another fairy tale mage without a shirt flipping lullaby around and catching it in his hand casually. Or will we have to use force? Urza's Konso, Exquip, activated, revealing a rather large, scary as hell weapon. Kageyama could do nothing but gulp. Did you happen to see anyone? What do you mean? Kageyama asked. Who? Airy Tail, Aragorn replied solemnly. Some of the other guild members said they saw the Titania, Urza nearby when they discussed lullaby. I'm worried she might be onto us. No worries about that, Kageyama replied as their train drew into Kunugi Station. Those fairy tale mages are nothing but light guild trash. They could never get past our plans anyway. That's more like it. Aragorn gave Kageyama a hard slap on the back, causing him to hit his head on the seat in front of him. TCH. Kageyama began to rub his head in an attempt to get rid of the pain as the train came to a halt and the two walked into the station, finding themselves in the presence of what was easily identified as more Dark Guild members. Hey there. Kageyama was immediately greeted by a man easily 3 times his width with an interesting face and green hair. He wore a chain of large yellow rings attached to it with a red jacket, which revealed a light shirt and some of his stomach. Congrats on the mission, Kageyama. Sounds like you were a success. Yeah, Kageyama shrugged off the compliment. It wasn't that easy though. Never was for us, Kuraka replied solemnly, but anyway, this is the dawn of the Dark Age. All thanks to you. The words seemed to disrupt Kageyama slightly, causing his companion to look at him concerned. Something wrong? No, Kageyama replied. Just a little motion sick from the train. I'll be back in a bit. Okay then. Kuraka waved his friend off. Later. That was close. Kageyama walked into the men's room and, after entering a stall, had released his henge transformation technique. I was worried I was going to slip up when that shirtless guy hit me, and I was certain as hell that the guy the first met in the lobby would figure me out. Naruto pinched his nose, not necessarily from the smell of the room, but to avoid the oncoming headache he foresaw. I'll see what I can pass on to the others from here. Silently putting his hands in the cross seal, he muttered, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu, quickly generating a clone before dispelling it. This had better work. Holy, everyone stopped what they were doing to see Naruto suddenly stumble back, holding his head. What's wrong? I know what they want. Naruto strode forward, crouching in front of their prisoner, but I don't know what it is. Hey, like you could ever know. Does the dawn of the Dark Age ring any bells to you? The Eisenwald member stared at him with shock and fear as Naruto raised an eyebrow. Yeah, that's what I thought. Ursa spoke up first, concern shown on her features. Naruto, how did you know that? Remember that technique I used to carry your luggage? Gray nodded. Yeah, but what does that have to do with anything? I'm one of those clones, Naruto said. The real Naruto disguised himself as this guy and overheard their cries of joy over the dawn of the Dark Age, in the middle of Kunugi Station, which isn't too bright in my opinion. Does this mean I can eat you? Happy looked at him with shining eyes. Puis? Naruto gave Happy a concerned look before continuing. That is a completely different subject, but the short answer is, no, you will never eat me, Happy. Natsu tilted his head as Happy landed on his shoulder, muttering about fish cakes and tastaness. So are you psychic or something? Because how else would you know about what the real Naruto is going through? It's a long story, Naruto said, so I can explain later, but for now we need to get to that train station fast, because it looks like they're occupying it. Hop in then. Ursa jumped into the four-wheeler and started the engine, attaching her magical energy to the car battery. Let's go. Do we bring him too? Lucy looked down at their fugitive. We don't want him to fall off the edge or something. No, leave him, Naruto replied before anyone else could. If we bring him he might help his comrades in the battle, and we've already seen how stubborn he is. How much more annoying would he be in battle? Come on, let's go. Lucy complied and eventually the four-wheeler screeched along the stretch, following the railroad tracks all the way to Kunugi Station. My, Kageyama froze solid as he recognized the voice behind him. This is certainly an interesting turn of events, isn't it? What the, Gray exclaimed, is that the Rune Knights? What are they doing here? Eisenwald must actually be pulling something, Ursa replied, because it looks like they're fighting back. Her point was proven as a giant blast of wind covered the distant red that they identified as the Rune Knights. Wow, I wish I could do that with my wind stuff. I'm pouring as much magic power into this thing as I can, Ursa grimaced, but I don't think we'll reach the station in time to stop any of the major damage they're doing. I have an idea. Naruto looked over to Natsu questioningly. Natsu, you can breathe fire, right? Yeah, why? Naruto grinned. Give me a second to set this up. Everyone but Ursa, who was busy driving, watched as Naruto proceeded to take out a rather fine-tipped brush with some black ink and began to write on a scroll he withdrew from his jacket, creating two unique circles made of kanji and hiragana. Guys, I'm going to have to use all my strength left on this, so I'll disperse afterwards. Holding the scroll up to Natsu, he said, breathe as hard as you can, Natsu. Okay then. Natsu drew his head back before throwing it forward, sprouting an immense amount of flames as he did so. Karyu no Hoko. Roar of the Fire Dragon. Fuka Hoin. Fire Sealing Method. The words on the scroll began to glow and Natsu's flames were drawn into them, eventually disappearing as Natsu ran out of breath. How? Naruto cut the question off before it even began. I told you I'll explain later, just watch over my stuff for me, okay? Naruto sat on the back of the car holding the scroll, running his fine brush around the edges of the scroll. Fuka Sukeru, Placement Sealing Method. Jumping back with the others, Naruto looked over to Natsu again. I need you to continue the flames when they die out. This was just to make sure we have enough to make it there in one burst. Naruto then proceeded to put his hands in a half-tiger seal. Fuka Hoin Kai, Fire Unsealing Method. From the scroll Naruto had placed on the back of the car, Natsu's Karyu no Hoko began to blaze, shooting out of the back of the car with enough force to double its speed. Not yet. Naruto then went through several hand seals rather quickly. Futon. Daitopa, Wind Style, Great Breakthrough. Naruto took in a deep breath before expelling a large burst of wind, merging with Natsu's flame and creating a heat surge that shot them forward much faster than before, causing Naruto to dispel as the four-wheeler made it to Kunugi Station. Well, not quite. Whoa, Naruto thought to himself, guess I better start now. From his hideout in the stall, Naruto put his hands in the cross seal, initiating his signature jutsu. Time to get this party started. Get out of here, you wimps. Aragorn kicked the last standing rune knight to the ground as he walked back to his guild members, who were laughing and celebrating as they celebrated their easy victory. That's our Shinigami. Yeah, you show him, Aragorn. Get back to the station, all of you, Aragorn replied. We still have to initiate the Dark Age if anything is to be done about fools like these who are ignorant of our plight. Get moving. Maybe you should hold off on that one. Aragorn and his men looked up to see a young blonde teen with blue eyes and whisker marks staring down at them. Oh, Kitty wants to play. Aragorn swung his scythe several times menacingly before looking back at him. Go home, kid. Your mommy's waiting for you. You're no match for the Shinigami. I know, Naruto replied coldly. I've seen the Shinigami before, when I was a kid. This caused whispers from the crowd of Eisenwald members as he continued. And believe me, mister, Naruto continued, you are no Shinigami. You defy me. Aragorn lowered his head as he replied darkly, and now you mock me? Yeah, I know, Naruto replied, but don't worry, reputation is overrated. Who are you again? In a flash, the older man had appeared behind Naruto, holding his scythe ready to swipe down on him. Bunshin Daibaku. Clone explosion. The Dark Guild members watched in horror as the explosion rocked the building, knocking their leader back and out of sight. Who's next? The disturbed guild members looked around, finding more of the blonde teen amongst them. I'm not put down that easily. The horde of Narutos looked up to see Aragorn on the roof they had blasted him from, holding his hands in front of him with his index and middle fingers up, touching each other in an X-like manner. Midori Jin. Green speed. Everyone looked in shock as Aragorn fired a blast of wind at the area of Naruto clones, Eisenwald members, and civilians. Even the Narutos were not fast enough to respond until Karyu no Hoko, roar of the fire dragon. Aragorn's wind attack was engulfed in flames and the entire town was set into chaos. Luckily the flames did little more than disperse the wind attack. Kanso Betsume. Requip. The Shinigami was forced to jump away as he found himself dodging a blow from the dangerous Titania. This is not going well. Aragorn cursed himself as he dodged the various blows sent his way while attempting to block with his own weapon. At this rate, he will be back before we put the plan into action. This was supposed to be a surprise. Aragorn flipped backwards to avoid another deadly blow, landing smoothly on a nearby rooftop, staring off against his new opponent. What is your point in all of this? Urza asked calmly. These people, this town has done nothing to you. Why are you doing this? Aragorn started to chuckle. We are simply cleaning up those fools who live their lives enjoying their rights, not knowing that there are people who have been revoked of their rights. Living a life oblivious to the unfairness of this world is a sin. Thus, the Shinigami has come to punish them. Is that so? Urza took a stance, holding her sword in both hands. Well then, let's see how mighty the Shinigami is compared to the fairy. Without a warning, the Toe launched themselves at each other, creating a massive wave of destruction as they traded blows. I will not let them ruin everything, Aragorn stated. No one can stop us, not while we have Lullaby. Eisenwald had been spread throughout the town for a while, until the attack on Aragorn caused them to chicken out and try to retreat. The only place they knew to retreat to, however, was the train station, which made Gray's job much easier. Isu Geyser. Ice Make. Geyser. What remained of Eisenwald's seemingly infinite numbers were diminishing rather quickly now that Aragorn was placed between a rock and a hard place, and what remained of them grouped together, making larger attack SW much more effective. And for cases in which they seemed to be more singled out. Moo. Taurus shouted as he rampaged through the few groups of singled-out members. I thought my contract wasn't on for 3 days. No matter. Lucy-san asked, and for the sake of her beauty I will fight. This is working out better than we planned it. During the 3-mile drop from the ravine, Gray's thoughts were suddenly interrupted by something grabbing his ankles and wrists. Yurumi. Black extension technique. Gray had no time to react as he was flung high in the air, and quickly slammed back into the ground with a horrible crash. Hey, one down. Gray looked up from his position amongst the rubble to see a tall man standing over him with long, black tendrils curling about in the air. He wore a very unique yellow and black jacket with a hood that resembled a pharaoh's headpiece, and underneath it he wore a white shirt. Huh? Your conscience? Gray put both of his arms in front of him, seeming as if he was struggling. No duh, Sherlock. Seeing his opponent with his guard down, Gray smirked. Isu Faroa, ice make. Floor. What the? His opponent had no time to think as Gray pounced on him as he slipped on the new stage, giving him a hard right to the gut, and sending him back. TCH. The man held his gut painfully as he lingered, hurt by the blow. I'm not that feeble, but then again you aren't weak either, aren't you? No, Gray responded unemotionally. I'm definitely stronger than any of you though. I could beat this Aragorn guy. Well then, the man began to release more and more of the shadow strings that emerged from his fingers. I can't let that slide, can I? Gray watched, curious, as the member of Eisenwald clapped his hands once. Yurumi. Jusen Jinsokuna Supaiku. Black extension technique. 10,000 swift spikes. Gray awed at the sheer amount of the multitude of weapons and placed his hands together also. Isu Shirudo. Ice make. Shield. Gray's wall barely had enough time to block the blunt of the Eisenwald member's attack. Leaning against his wall with a sigh of relief, he was stunned to see that he wasn't done yet. What the? Gray was forced to jump on top of his newly formed wall to escape more of the threads, which had passed by his wall and come around the other side, impaling the wall on both sides. You underestimate me, fairy tale mage. Gray looked over to see the man continuing to sprout more threads. You forget, we are known for our assassinations. You never really took into account that we are used to taking lives. It would be no problem for me to kill you. But then again, I'm glad I haven't killed you yet, since I haven't introduced myself. The man smirked. My name is Raoul, the last you shall hear. My name is Gray Fullbuster, Gray replied. Hey, guess what? I just heard my own name, so unless you say yours again it'll be my name that I last heard. Huh, funny. You still underestimate me? Raoul fumed, bringing his hands together again. Yurumi. Danmaku no Muchi. Black extension technique. Whip barrage. Isu Maiku. Ken, ice make. Sword. Gray held his hand out expectantly and ice started to materialize in his hand in a long, thick blade. He clenched it in his fist and began to swat off the never-ending assault of Raoul's black whips, cutting some while only blocking others. Now I think. Gray jumped back from the assault, bringing his weapon to his side over his shoulder as the multitude of whips approached him. You are beginning to underestimate me. Gray swung out at the black horde of weapons as he began to go deep into the core of it. Natsu. Lucy. Urza. Naruto. Don't underestimate these guys like I did. Get them out of the way as fast as you can. This town is huge. Natsu commented on the town they were currently visiting, destroying. Where is everybody? I don't even smell happy here. FWWWOSH. Natsu's sixth sense kicked in and he dodged back, avoiding a beam of light, looking around him as the crowd of civilians dispersed in fear of a possible fight. Who's there? Natsu yelled out, if you want to fight, then fight me. Hey, really now? Natsu looked up to see a man with a yellow apricot complexion with a square face, and 3 whisker marks on his face, along with dark hair in a flat tuft going upwards. He also wore a red-brown jacket with a huge collar. So you tell me to just fight you, even when you're surrounded by civilians? The man chuckled darkly. That's the spirit. Perhaps after we utterly crush your guild we could recruit you. You could be a great assassin. My name is Bjard. Me? Wanting civilians hurt because of nothing to do with them? Bjard looked on in confusion as Natsu's fists began to cover themselves in flame. You are a sick, twisted man, Bjard. Oh. Bjard walked a little closer. How so? Karyu no Tekken. Fire Dragon's iron fist. Natsu lashed out at the man, who barely avoided the devastating blow, but still came out of it with a singe on his cheek. Not only do you kill, Natsu continued his assault, But you kill for money, for no reason, and even beyond that now you easily shrug off the idea of killing innocents? Natsu's eyes began to glow red as more flames began to enshroud his hands. I will never forgive you. Bjard dodged quickly for a man of his size, although only barely ahead of the pink-haired dragonslayer. I guess you won't join then. Go screw yourself. Natsu smashed Bjard in the face, causing him to fly off into a nearby building, causing it to dent inward in his image. You think I can't fight back, don't you? Bjard pushed himself out of the dent. Bringing his arms in front of himself, he placed his arms over each other in the shape of an X with his fingers touching. Try this. Yuru no Hikari. Tengoku no Yajirushi, light of the night. Arrow from heaven. Natsu was forced to close his eyes as a bright light came from Bjard's direction, forcing him to fall to his knees. Which actually saved him from the arrow that flew by overhead. Rubbing his eyes, Natsu opened them up to see Bjard's fist inches from his face, and upon impact he was sent stumbling back as they began to get into a fist fight. You sicken me, Natsu said between blows. You use light, a source of goodness and justice, for your sick, twisted magic? Unforgivable. Natsu ducked under a blow from the man and socked him with a fist of flame. Karyu no Tekken. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. Bjard's eyes flew open as he was sent back again. Is that all you got? Natsu coaxed the man. I can do this all day. Moo. Eisenwald seemed down for the count, or at least all the ones that Lucy had found. No one is worthy enough to face me. Thanks, Taurus, Lucy said, sighing. You can go back now. I think we're good. Are you sure? Taurus asked. Maybe you should get back with your comrades first. This isn't a safe place. Lucy nodded. I can find them on my own, but thanks anyway. Any time. Taurus began to materialize into golden flasks of light as Lucy wiped her forehead, removing some of the sweat, using celestial spirits. Was no joke. While they were here they relied off of her magical energy, and while she had been working on it, she was still far from being able to support them here for a long time. Lucy-san. Lucy looked up to see Naruto walking towards her. You alright? And what was that huge cow? Oh, you mean Taurus? She asked, pulling out her key ring. He's one of the celestial spirits I have a contract with. I can summon them with my keys. Naruto looked at her keys for a moment before looking up. Do you have trouble locking your house or something? No. Lucy was caught off guard as Naruto suddenly pushed her forward and jumped back, both of them with surprised looks on their faces as a large knife emerged from the ground in front of them. Come out already, Naruto said. I don't think we really want to be kept waiting. Oh well. Naruto and Lucy watched in awe as a person with green hair, a chubby build, and had a red jacket with yellow rings around him emerged from the ground where the knife had come from. A large earth magic circle surrounding him, disappearing as he came out fully. I should have guessed as much. The man had green hair, was very chubby, and had a red jacket with yellow rings around him. What do you want here, Karaka? You know my name? Karaka scratched his head briefly before replying. Oh well, I guess my name isn't that well known, but oh well, free publicity I guess. Why are you attacking the train station? Lucy asked impatiently. What does Eisenwald want to get from all this? Well, how about I ask the same question? Why attack us? Karaka asked. We never bothered with you light guilds. We just wanted to take our missions and live our lives in peace, and now you are here trying to attack us. You annihilated a squad of rune knights, Naruto said. Doesn't that count for something? Self-defense, Karaka replied, and all we did was assemble here. We didn't mean any harm by living now, do we? Does being in a dark guild disgust you that much? Well, let me clue you in on something. Karaka began to phase back into the earth as he continued. Unlike you light guilds, we live a hard life, taking whatever jobs we get. We do what we have to for our livelihoods. You really think the only thing that you can do with your life is work for a dark guild? Naruto shouted back. Don't give me that crap. You people probably aren't in enough wanted posters to go join light guilds whenever you wanted to. You just like this life, and you like to complain, but... Naruto watched as the retreating form of Karaka completely submerged. I don't care. I think you should be able to live your life however you want, but I have 3 exceptions to that belief. Those who steal, those who ignore the law. Naruto clenched his fists. But above those 2 is the most important exception. Those who hurt my friends. Friends Karaka's voice echoed through the empty train station. Well, I wonder how you could keep that last one if they were all dead. Naruto cracked his knuckles as he saw Lucy take her whip from her belt. I'd like to see you try. Crap. Gray cursed as his sword broke after repeatedly blocking the blows from the multitude of whips. That's the second one so far. Gray retreated from the barrage of black whips as he prepared another one. Ken, Ice Make, Sword. He panted as he jumped back into the frenzy, trying to actually find Raoul somewhere in the horde of black whips. He had tried going around them before, but he never seemed to get far before the horde caught up with him again, and he was forced to dance in the black mist like he had been doing before, just in a different spot. Where is he anyway? Gray thought to himself as he continued to spin his sword around him. Hey, being around Urza all those years had to pay off sometime, right? It doesn't look like he really has any goal in mind except to impale me, so is he trying to wear me out? Gray winced as he received a small nick on his shoulder as he managed to cut another whip as he continued his parry. At this rate I'll never really be able to get one unless. He shivered at the thought. No, he had to find another way, and he immediately thought of one. Maybe that would work though. Twirling his sword one last time, Gray threw it into the horde of whips and placed his hands together. Ransu, Ice Make, Lance. Extending his arms forward, ice extended from his shoulders and covered his arms, extending at incredible rates and breaking through the line of whips. Found you. Gray grinned as he brought his arms together and swiped several times, severing the whips too short to regenerate enough to reach him from where he was. You bastard. Raoul snarled as he faced Gray in the open. I'm not done yet. You should be. Gray placed his hands together again. Kyanon, Ice Make, Cannon. Raoul looked between the giant cannon in Gray's hands and the short, useless whips by his side and began to panic. Now wait, just a second. Fire. Raoul watched in horror as he was blown away by the ice ball that emerged from the cannon, causing him to hit the train station behind him hard. As he slid to the ground with blood on his chin, he smirked. I shouldn't have underestimated you. Raoul fainted as Gray dispersed the cannon and dusted himself off. Clap, clap. Gray turned to the source of the sound and saw a short, old man approach him. He was obviously mid-40s, late 50s, and had gray hair that stood straight on the back of his head while leaving a bald spot on his scalp. He wore a large purple robe with yellow lines down the middle and on his sleeves, and had white fur wherever the cloth ended. That was impressive, young man, the mysterious man said in a deep, firm voice. I haven't seen such a show in a long time. It's no wonder that fairy tale is succeeding with young folks like you making us old folk look bad. Gray narrowed his eyes at the new man in front of him. While I appreciate the compliment, I should tell you that this isn't the time, sir. The station is under attack by a dark guild. I should know. Gray's eyes widened in shock as the man's eyes narrowed, releasing a massive amount of killer intent. Since this is my dark guild. Cut. This chapter was such a pain to start out, but it got easier as I came closer to the beginning of the fight. Mostly it was difficult to keep myself from continuously switching views after that. Couple of important notes to this chapter. I wasn't sure whether Erigor's attack was Midori Jin or Emera Beam. I didn't get a definite answer from the wiki, but this was my guess. Same with Yurumi. The wiki only gave that name. Not sure if the English or Japanese name even. And all of his attacks, besides the first, are things I created, since they only gave the name for his magic. I also created all of Byaard's attacks, and all of Karaka's attacks. The speech Erigor gives about everyone being blind to the suffering of dark guilds is something directly from the series. I did not write that, only the responses. Lols with Taurus. I reworded his language because I felt awkward imagining myself writing it. So yeah. I overpowered Eisenwald a bit because otherwise everything would be boring, and it would be impossible for me to plan out the next big boss fight. Which starts soon. Too many people forget to make fun from these minor arcs. Like powering up minor characters. and excusing it since they didn't get to fight for long, so they could be pretty good, and remembering minor details. Assassins Guild much. These people know how to kill, maybe they should be good at it. This is stuff I look for when I read FF, so why shouldn't I try it? Happy has disappeared. Shocked face, where is he? Find out later. Nice cliffhanger or not? I wanted to try and finish up the fighting before the Eisenwald master appeared, but hey, it came out nicely here. Am I making Naruto too godlike? This is not intended to be a god Naruto fic. I'll try to keep him from being too jutsu knowledgeable in later chapters to prevent this. But if you like it as is, speak now or forever hold it. Hopefully I'll make an omake or two, but I will definitely have another chapter posted by the end of the holiday season. If I don't, either I have been assassinated physically, death by blade, or by homework, death by boredom and responsibility. But none of you care, so hey, have fun, stay safe, no drugs. And maybe I should stop telling you what is going to be ignored anyway, but here's something you might like. CH6 should be out before the season ends. Maybe with an omake if you're on the nice list. Also, I have a poll up as of now pertaining to this FIC. Please state your opinion or say something. Would be helpful for me and might cause early update, CH7 I mean, because CH6 is under the Christmas tree. Crunch. Random cookies. Laughing face CH6. Kunugi Station. Final showdown. To be simple, I'm going to put a generic disclaimer here. If I owned Naruto, Bleach, or anything that earned me money, I would try to introduce too many unique ideas and have that position taken away from me. So the only thing I own is the plot and a few OCs. Very long chapter since I just couldn't stop myself from ending the chapter anywhere in particular. Hope you like epic fights of win. Laughing face. Demons. Summons. Powerful people. Like meet Shiki smiley face, flashback, emphasis. Jutsu, magic, techniques CH6. Kunugi Station, final showdown. Yuru no Hikari. Tengoku no Yajirushi, light of the night. Arrow from heaven. Karyu no Hoko. Roar of the fire dragon. The two opposing forces clashed with an explosion, forcing both Natsu and Byard back. Not yet. Natsu shouted as he dashed forward in an attempt to follow up. Karyu no Tekken. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. Yuru no Hikari. Ude Kakushi Ken o Might. Light of Night. Seen Arm Hidden Fist. Natsu gave no look of surprise as his fist of flame clashed with Byard's fist of white light, causing both of them to enter an enhanced melee combat situation. Not bad, Salamander. Byard complimented his opponent as he attempted to gain the upper hand, but you'll need to step up your game another notch at this rate. Byard ducked under one of Natsu's punches and head-butted him in the gut, causing him to stumble back while he stood back and pulled both of his arms back as if to stab with Yuru no Hikari. Tasuki no Fainbaredo. Light of Night. Fine Blades of the Moon. Natsu managed to dodge out of Byard's way as two dark blades of dark white light merged from his hands, shooting out at extreme speeds at Natsu, missing entirely though, and they faded away. Pity, you got away, Byard grimaced as he saw Natsu prepare another Karyu no Tekken. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. You are so stubborn when it comes to combat, you can't win like this. Yuru no Hikari. Ude Kakushi Ken o Might. Light of Night. Seen Arm Hidden Fist. Natsu and Byard continued their fist fight from before. I can win any way I want to, Natsu said between blows dodged and attempted. Oh really? Byard asked. You seem to have a lot of things you can do as a Light Guild mage. Now I wonder, do you have any idea what it's like to work for a Dark Guild? No, we have noth. And I don't care. Byard was startled by being cut off so profoundly and let his guard down briefly enough for Natsu to implant a fist to his gut. Karyu no Tekken. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. Byard was sent flying into a building, leaving him to crumble against a wall as Natsu walked up to him. You don't care about our plight? Byard asked, enraged. We are oppressed by that damnable Magic Council. They took away our rights for choosing a living. Byard. Natsu crouched next to the Dark Guild member and snarled, "Do you know what the penalty for murder is?" Bjard looked shocked as he understood what Natsu was inferring, and he was only enraged further. "We are not." "But that is exactly what your guild endorsed, murder." Natsu got up and started walking away. "That is why I don't care for your plight. This isn't about the Magic Council. This is about your problems, not mine." "This isn't over," Bjard said to himself as he watched Natsu's disappearing form as his eyes began to close. Natsu, Dragneel. "Lucy, look out." Naruto's warning proved effective as Lucy moved out of the way in time to avoid Kuraka as he came flying through the floor, trying to take a slice out of Lucy, only for him to miss and go underground again before they could try to take another shot. "What the heck? I can't sense him anywhere." Naruto grit his teeth. "It's like he really is the dirt. Unless we can drag him out and beat him, we'll drag on forever." "Go. To him?" Lucy pondered his words as it hit her. "Oh, of course." Lucy reached towards her keychain and pulled off one of the gold keys, gaining Naruto's attention. "Open up. Gate of the Maiden Virgo." Naruto watched in awe as a woman dressed as a maid appeared next to them. She was almost the exact ideal maid, but she had chains on her wrists, and she had pink high. Sakura-chan? "Virgo, I know that we haven't set up the contract yet, but I really need your help," Lucy asked. "We're in a fight with this person with diver magic. I shall dispose of him quickly." Before Naruto could ask what was going on, she had already disappeared into the ground as well, leaving a mole hole where she once stood. "Lucy, what is she?" Naruto was cut off by a scream of pain from Kuraka as he shot out from the ground as Virgo followed, standing between them and him. "Princess, your spiritual energy is dwindling," Virgo said, and Naruto saw her wincing as well. "Just hold out a minute longer, I can defeat this man." Suddenly they all felt a massive surge of killer intent, causing them all to stand still momentarily trying to make it out. "Hey, you all are screwed." Naruto looked up to see Kageyama walking towards them and he raised an eyebrow. "Kageyama?" Naruto asked. "What are you doing here?" "We left you for dead way back there on the train tracks tied up." "Funny story. I got picked up by a friend." Kageyama gestured to the distant source of the killer intent they felt. "You feel that? That's from my friend, or at least my guildmaster, Michi no Hiraki." "Guildmaster?" Naruto frowned. "I thought that Aragorn was." "Aragorn pales in comparison to him." Kageyama quickly cut in. "Even your Titania no Urza has nothing on him. Your stripping teammate is dead as far as he's concerned." "Gray. Shit." Naruto cursed as he realized the seriousness of the situation. "I'll just have to beat your ass and go help him." "You underestimate me." Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Kage Orochi. Shadow Snakes. Naruto's attempt to annihilate Kageyama in one swoop had been easily negated by Kageyama's sudden creation of a swarm of shadow snakes, destroying all of his clones as he created them, causing Naruto to grimace. "I told you, you underestimate me," Kageyama said. "I lost to you in the vomit machine because he startled me. That won't happen again." "Well then," Naruto looked over to Lucy, "can you hold out against Kuraka while I deal with the shadow freak?" "I'm not going to hold out," Lucy said firmly. "I'm going to beat him." "That's the spirit," Naruto said as he dashed forward, attempting to take Kageyama off guard. Naruto stayed low in his approach, ready to divert to either side to dodge. This would be so much easier if he didn't look like Shikamaru. Naruto thought as he approached, one day I'll be able to tell him that. "Hey, ha 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 ha." Urza stoked in her assault as she too felt the intense killer intent that was coming from Kunugi Station. "You feel it too, don't you?" Urza looked to Aragorn as he continued. "That is the signal of the end. Our guildmaster has arrived." "Michi no Hikari?" Urza narrowed her eyes and placed her hands together. "Then I will have to finish this." "Kanso Betsume. Za Naito. Requip. The night." Aragorn looked as Urza glowed in a yellow light before fully changing into her most well-known requip, the night. This should be interesting. Aragorn began to swirl his scythe in one hand behind him, but it doesn't matter. Aragorn grinned wider as he saw her prepare to strike him. Is this your power? This is nothing. Aragorn stopped spinning his scythe and swung it in front of him in one motion. No Shinigami o Warai. Shinigami's hearty laugh. Konso ken no mori. Requip. Forest of Swords. Aragorn's scythe unleashed a blast of purple energy while swords stuck up from the ground as she summoned them, blocking Aragorn's attack. This is why you are weak, Aragorn said as he jumped back to avoid the reflection. You have no gain from this fight. I do. I know exactly what I will gain from this fight, and that is why I will succeed. Aragorn stopped suddenly as he felt a bulge in the ground behind him and jumped up, avoiding the sword he had predicted, and found himself in front of Urza in midair. That is your resolve? Urza asked as the two began to exchange blows. If your resolve is as weak as that, then you cannot defeat me. Tenrin. Ryron no Ken. Heaven's Wheel. Profusion of Swords. Aragorn could not block her attack and was sliced through as she charged past him, throwing her swords back at him as she passed, causing him to fall to his knees and curse. What is your resolve then, Titania? Aragorn asked weakly as he started to collapse. If it is better than mine, I must hear it for myself. You would never understand, Aragorn, Urza said as she moved to leave, but I fight for my friends. A resolve like that will not help you defeat my master, Aragorn replied as she left. You are all doomed. Damn it, damn it, damn it, Naruto said as he continuously created clones for the sole purpose of avoiding getting hit by the infinite shadow snakes created by Kageyama's Kage Orochi, shadow snakes, while trying to think of a way to somehow get past it. Looking back briefly, Naruto turned around facing the army of snakes as he ran backwards, creating a clone, and kicked back, pushing himself backwards while sending the clone forward. Bunshin Deibakuha. Shadow clone explosion. The clone exploded in the horde of snakes, creating a large opening in the horde, enabling Naruto to see Kageyama briefly, but only briefly as the snakes covered the hole and Naruto was put on the retreat again. After showing so much skill earlier, you really are failing to put on a show, Kageyama said, pumping more magical energy into his attack as he continued. Well, I don't have a very encouraging audience, do I? Naruto replied sarcastically as he outran the snakes. I wonder how accurate those snakes are. Naruto continued running through the station, turning a corner quickly as the snakes followed him, finding himself in a U-turn, and Naruto came back out, seeing Kageyama clearly. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto filled the hole in the wall with as many clones as he could, keeping two with him as he ran forward. Bunshin Deibakuha, Shadow Clone. Explosion. The tunnel exploded, and, by looking at the trail of shadows coming from his direction, he could tell that many of them were destroyed. But there was still a decent distance between him and Kageyama that would give him time to recover. Realizing he had to take his chances, Naruto sent a mental order to his clones, and they all took shuriken from their holsters, throwing them at Kageyama with a fast flick of the wrist. Kageyama was forced to abort his attempt at creating another Kage Orochi, shadow snakes, as he moved to dodge out of the way of the deadly shuriken. You wanted a show? Kageyama looked up to see Naruto and his clones run up to him as he prepared to flee and fight. Because I'm ready to give you a first-class seat in an ass-whooping crash course. Kageyama couldn't keep up with the three Narutos and took several hits, and he stumbled back as a single Naruto came up to him and he began to fare well again, managing to land a blow to his face. Poof! Eat chakra. Kageyama was startled to see Naruto emerge from the smoke of his clone with a blue orb in his hand, smashing it into his chest and causing a severe amount of pain. Rasengan. Spiraling Sphere. Gah! Kageyama shot back with enough force to send him hurtling into the ground below him, raising lots of debris and smashing the concrete floor. I didn't think that it would take that much effort, Naruto sighed as he saw Kageyama's eyes roll back, signaling his unconsciousness. He was really annoying. How the heck are these people not getting name recognition? A lot of mages I know by name could get a challenge from these people. That was not too bad. Naruto looked up from the unconscious Dark Guild member and saw an older man wearing a purple robe with yellow and fur trim approach him. But then again, Fairy Tail is well known for its brash, younger, more powerful mages. The old man sighed. I must say, I have had my fair experience with a fine Isu Maiku ice make user not long ago. Shame he didn't hold up. Gray? Naruto grinded his teeth as he started to sense a rise in killer intent. What did you do to him? The same that I shall do to you. The guildmaster motioned to him. Now come, it is rude to keep your elders waiting. If you say so. Naruto placed his hands together. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu. Oh, what magic is this? The Eisenwald master asked amused as Naruto created 5 clones and began to charge him. Maybe I can find it out from your dead body later. Right now I think you might be a threat. Like hell. One of Naruto's clones suddenly burst into smoke, causing the rest of the Narutos to look back in shock. You see, I am not only a guildmaster by name. Naruto looked back at his enemy to see his eyes take on a dark shade instead of the normal light one. I am Michi no Hikari, Dark Master of the Hidden Light. I don't give a. Several more Narutos burst into smoke as they all felt a surge in killer intent. You had better. Your life is in my hands now, and I hope that maybe unlike your friend earlier, you decide to leave Eisenwald to its own affairs. Virgo. Lucy called out as she walked through the station, searching for her spirit and the opponent she faced. My magical energy is getting extremely low. At this rate I won't be able to Virgo here for more than 5 minutes. Found you. Whoa, Lucy fell backwards as she barely avoided an attack from Kuraka, who had re-submerged the station walls. He's fast for a big guy. Be careful, princess. Lucy turned to see Virgo emerge from the ground next to her. He is very agile underground, and I don't think I can catch him at this point. Hey, that's encouraging. Ei. Lucy let out a shriek as 2 hands grabbed her ankles before pulling her down into the floor. Let me go, you creep. Sapika Raku. Spike a lock. Virgo smashed her hands into the earth, causing the rocks around Lucy to levitate at Virgo's command. Also causing Kuraka to come as an add-on from his hiding spot. Got you now. Virgo prepared to jump at the man, but she was too late as he dived into the earth again. You're not getting away. Wait, Virgo. Lucy cried, but it was too late, as Virgo had already begun to dig after him. They're so fast. Why can't I get near him? Naruto thought as he created another swarm of Kage Bunshin shadow clones, in an attempt to hit him with something. Anything. But whenever he got near him, poof. His clones burst into smoke, and no matter how hard he searched through the memories they sent him, he could never figure out what was happening. He had been at this for the past 5 minutes and the man hadn't even moved once. Eat this. I'm getting tired of these games, the man said, ignoring the army of orange and blue rushing towards him and raising his left hand in the air, clenching it into a fist suddenly. Kakusareta Hokai. Toge no Tani. Hidden Demise. Valley of Thorns. Naruto and his clones all burst into smoke, revealing the real Naruto hunched over on the ground with a deep wound in his torso. You fought well for a child of your age, the man said as he walked forward. Let this be a lesson to you young folk then. Konso, requip. The old man didn't budge as Urza appeared beside him and swung her sword at his neck, only for it to stop inches from it. Titania no Urza. The old man raised an eyebrow and turned to face her, her sword still stuck in midair. Well, this certainly makes things more interesting. Naruto, get away from here, Urza said, pulling her sword back and swinging again. I will fight him. Not on your own, you won't. Naruto put his hands together. Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Multiple Shadow Clone Jutsu. Haven't you realized that doesn't work yet? The old man said as they all burst into smoke, creating a smokescreen around him. What now? Rasengan. Spiraling Sphere. Too slow. The old man sidestepped an incoming Naruto and kicked him aside, only to find that it was also a clone. HYA. The man ducked as he avoided a swipe from Urza, leaving her sword frozen in the air again. Not enough. Kakusareta Hokai. Gekihatsu. Hidden Demise. Sudden Burst. The man thrust his hand forward in Urza's direction, creating a puncture in her stomach and causing her to wince. This isn't over. Oh, but it is. Urza cringed as he started to clench his fist slowly, sousing more pain as he closed it further. This is only a part of the pain we feel as the oppressed dark guilds. You will be a testament to our pain, child. Let her go. The old man didn't even look as he heard Naruto running at him from behind. It would be best for you to back away before I flat out kill your friend here. Bunshin Daibakuha. Shadow clone explosion. The explosion rocked the area and the guildmaster lost his focus, allowing Naruto to get Urza back to safety while causing damage to the guildmaster. Well then, the master dusted off his shoulders before taking a stance. If I can't take a blow like that, then what good would I be? One who couldn't take this. The old man turned around to see a pink-haired teen coming at him from behind. Karyu no Tekken. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. Wham! Natsu's fist hit the old man with a sickening crack, sending him flying into a wall on the train station behind Naruto and Urza. Good job, Natsu, Naruto. Urza looked back towards where the guildmaster had been sent while clutching her stomach. Did that do it? Now, children. The three mages looked through the rubble to see the man standing effortlessly, cracking his knuckles. I think you should learn to respect your elders. Like hell. Natsu cried. As fairy tale mages we do what we think is right, and you aren't my elder anyway. My elders are people who have my respect already. Then die without any respect from me. The man clapped his hands once. Kakusareta Hokai. Hiden demise. What the? Naruto watched as the old man disappeared from sight. Where did he go? Be careful, Urza said as she placed her arms out. Natsu, can you smell him? No, Natsu replied. The air is distilled, and I can tell something's up, but I can't tell where. It's like he's everywhere at once and the killer intent isn't helping. Let me give it a try. Kage Bunshin no Ah. Naruto was forced to abort his attack as a large gash appeared on his shoulder, causing him to cry out in pain as blood began to soil his favorite orange jacket. That is getting old. Urza Natsu looked around trying to find the source of the voice as it seemingly came from everywhere at once. I don't want to waste any more time with you flies, pestering my plans. Naruto. Hold on. Natsu grabbed Naruto and pulled him towards him. You okay? Oh. Do you feel our pain now? Natsu Dragneel? The voice continued to ring through the station as Naruto continued to bleed through his open wound. This is still far from what we feel. You son of a bitch. Natsu clenched his fists as he began to look for the source of the attack. You won't leave this place without paying for what you've done. Natsu, calm. Urza's plea was cut short as an open wound appeared in her outstretched arm, making its way up to her side. Kakusareta Hokai. Habi no Razan. Hiden demise. Snake spiral. Ah. Urza. Natsu's eyes widened in shock as she held her arm in pain, dropping her sword and falling to the floor. This isn't happening. I could do this without my complete power, you know. Natsu looked ahead to see the Eisenwald master appear not far in front of him, his hands held together as if in prayer. The tips of his fingers pointed in Natsu's direction. Now, what was that about making me pay? Natsu began to dash towards the man at his top speed, not breaking in stride as several nicks appeared on his arms. I'll be making that delivery shortly. Isu Yajirushi. Ice make. Arrow. Natsu was forced to stop in his approach as an arrow flew in front of his face, forcing him to dodge to the side. Oi Gray, what the? Then he saw it. Glass? A long piece of glass that extended from the hands of the Eisenwald master into a pointed tip inches from where his face was about to be not but seconds ago. So that's the trick, huh? You've been using glass this whole time? You were alive then. Isu Maiku, Ice make, boy. The guildmaster sneered in the direction of Gray, who was running to the gang with a small cut on his shoulder, a bow made of ice in his hand. No matter, you still cannot defeat me. Natsu, melt my ice, Gray shouted as he clapped his hands once. Isu Geyser, Ice make, Geyser. Oh, I see where you're going with this. Natsu smirked. Karyu no Hoko. Roar of the fire dragon. The moment Gray's ice burst from the ground, Natsu melted it with the intensity of the heat, causing a light mist to appear and lightly fog up the glass all over the station. You amuse me. Natsu and Gray turned to see the guildmaster through a thin layer of the fog, standing a ways away. It is such a shame such talent must be wasted on fools like yourselves. Fools? Natsu questioned, running at him through the mist. We are not fools, we are fairy tale mages. Karyu no Tekken. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. Isu Yajirushi. Ice Make. Arrows. Die already, fools. The old man's eyes turned black as his skin began to darken. Kakusareta Hokai. Yosei. Hidden Demise. Fortress. That had to have gotten him. Natsu smirked as a mist began to appear again, slowly revealing a large wall of glass. Not only that, but there were several slots in the wall. I told you you were fools. The man's voice was heard from behind the wall. Kakusareta Hokai. Yosei Mugen Hoka. Hidden Demise. Fortress's infinite gunfire. Natsu and Gray had no time to react as they were suddenly faced with a barrage of glass shards that flew from the wall at blinding speeds. Saimitama. Trinity shot. Urza. Natsu and Gray had no time to thank their friend as she stepped in front of them, unleashing a blast of magical power from her swords that blotted out the small shards and placed a huge dent in the wall of glass. TCH. Urza fell to one knee. That should have done the trick. Take it from here. What the heck, Urza? Natsu grabbed her as she began to waver in the wind. Speak to me. No. There is no way we'll lose to you, Gray shouted as he ran in front of Natsu and Urza, ready to fight. This isn't over yet. Oh, but it is. The man's voice began to move up and down, and he began to chuckle. This generation of mages may be strong, but you are not strong enough. This is child's play. You think this is funny? All visible and invisible eyes turned to Naruto, who was standing up slowly. What is this to you? Some kind of joke? Taking people's lives is that easy for you? Naruto, Gray and Natsu saw Naruto's hands clench. The blood on his shoulder dried already. Well, I'll tell you what I think, Naruto shouted. You call this your crusade? Then I'll call myself a martyr. You say you're suffering. I'll call myself the Shinigami you've never faced before. Bold words from a dead child. The guildmaster began to laugh heartily. What will you do now? Create more smoke for my convenience? Take more damage and ultimately kill yourself trying to face against someone out of your league? Boy, you should know when to quit. I do. Naruto's teeth began to sharpen and his whisker marks became more profound. I trained with someone out of my league for 3 years, and it made me stronger. And if you think that you are out of my league, I'll just have to introduce you to a friend of mine that is out of your league. What is this killing intent? Natsu thought as he saw a deep, crimson-red energy begin to swirl around Naruto as he walked forward, passing Gray, Urza and himself. What is that, Naruto? So you have something to show me? The guildmaster smirked. I hope it's more than this puny little piece of power here. This is nothing. Is it? Naruto asked as he reached the glass wall, placing his hand on it. How about, now? The wall shattered into millions of miniature shards as Naruto advanced towards the shocked old man. You see, this is what truly being out of your league is like. Kakusareta Hokai. Habi no Rasen. Hidden Demise. Snake Spiral. The old man threw his hand up, causing a spiral of glass to appear from it coming at him rapidly. Is this pathetic thing here a spiral? Naruto sneered as the attack came closer. A true spiral is like this. Rasengan. Spiraling sphere. Naruto formed the orange ball of energy in his hand without a single motion and thrust it into the oncoming glass, shattering it upon contact and causing the old man to jump back in fear as the killer intent rose. I think you understand my point now. Naruto reached the old man and let go of his orange orb, letting it dissipate. Now, if you want to live, you should call your little cronies and tell them to go home, or else. Aye. The old man said nothing as his eyes rolled back and he fell over, unconscious. Naruto? Gray asked as the red energy receded. What was that? Something that I would rather not explain, Naruto said as he came over to the group and sat down next to them. reaching into his jacket and pulling out a small scroll. Here. I have some medical supplies in here somewhere, aha. Applying chakra to the seal, out popped a first aid kit, which he opened and began applying to Urza while Natsu and Gray patched their minor injuries up themselves. By the way, where were you, Gray? Naruto asked curiously. When I first started fighting the guy, he said something about beating you. What happened and where are Lucy and Happy? Well, Gray started to reply. It went something like this. Virgo. Lucy screamed as she saw Virgo emerge from the wall adjacent to her with a bruise on her arms and one on her face. Are you okay? Princess, be careful. Virgo began to pant. My reactions are slowing. I can't stay for much longer. Oh no. Lucy thought. My resources will be completely gone if Virgo stays much longer. Virgo, you can go back. Lucy released her whip from her holster and held it with both hands. I'm ready to fight on my own. I will stay as long as I can, Virgo said, but when your reserves run dry I will be forced back. We should find your teammates. Too weak to fight, Pinky? Virgo and Lucy were forced to dodge a knife thrown at them from a wall behind them, and as she dodged, Lucy threw her whip at the source, causing Karaka to scream as it made contact. You, Arg. Karaka held his right hand as Lucy's whip pulled back and Virgo charged forward. You are going to pay for that. You have worse things to worry about. Virgo began to engage the large man in close, only to be severely overwhelmed by fatigue and size. This is so easy, Karaka said as he distanced himself, pulling a small knife from his jacket as he disappeared under the floor. You girls better hope you can take a few nicks and scars, because you are about to feel real pain. He could be anywhere, stay close. Lucy motioned to Virgo as the two stood in the center of the room, waiting to see if her would re-emerge. Whoosh. Everything seemed to go mute for Lucy as the knife appeared right in front of her eyes, only to be completely covered in a flash of pink. Virgo. Isu Yajirushi. Ice make. Arrow. Lucy and Virgo turned to see Gray running in their direction, dropping his ice bow as he placed his hands together. Isu Furoa. Ice make. Floor. Ga. Lucy looked over to where the knife had been thrown from to see Karaka's feet frozen, along with the ground beside him. What the? Makusu Supido Ataku. Max speed attack. Happy? Lucy asked as she watched the blue cat fly into Karaka's face with a kick, leaving a large bruise as he came towards them. What's going on? That guildmaster guy got a hit on me, Gray referenced to his shoulder, which had a small gash on it, along with several other nicks. But I managed to pull a fast one on him with Isu Bunshin, Ice Make, Ice Dummy, and managed to get to safety thanks to Happy. I saw. It looks like you're okay, Princess, Virgo said as she began to disintegrate into yellow light. I will leave you with your comrade then, take care. Thank you, Virgo, Lucy replied as Virgo disappeared. What now? Happy, take Lucy and go get Master Makarov from Clover Town. It's the next town down the train tracks, Gray said. Lucy, you need to get Master Makarov here. He knows how to use healing magic. We will need it badly against this guy. Why am I going? Why not you? Lucy asked. You would actually know as I'm still a new member. I know the secret to his magic, Gray said, and besides, he is way more powerful than you now, Lucy. He could kill you. We'll be back soon then, I guess. Happy grabbed Lucy and began to fly off towards Clover Town. Be careful. Makusu Supido. Max speed. And then I came over here to help Natsu fight against the old guy, Gray concluded. You all looked in bad enough shape when I got here. Good thing I did. Thank you, Natsu, Gray, Naruto, Urza said as she stood up again, patched up, using Kanso. Requip. To change into her Heart Crew's armor. Eisenwald is defeated. Now all we need is to return the flute to the Magic Council. Urza turned to Naruto and gestured. Do you have it? Naruto started to sweat. I thought you had it. I left it with my clone that stayed behind with you. Looking for this. Everyone turned to see Byrad standing not far away, bruised and battered, holding the flute triumphantly in his hand. Hey, I told you I want finished. Natsu Dragneel. Bjard. Natsu questioned their new opponent as he moved the flute towards his mouth. What are you doing? You'll kill us all. That's the point, Bjard began to laugh darkly. I will avenge my fallen comrades with the power of the Dark One, Zareth. Go ahead, punk, I dare you. Byrad turned his attention to Naruto, who had walked up to him in the time he had been laughing, standing in his face. The moment you put your mouth on that flute I go up in flames and you die. You say you're ready to die? I dare you. So go ahead, punk, make my day. Byrad was frozen in fear as Naruto grabbed the flute from his shaking hands. That's what I thought. A bunch of cowardly mages, all of you. Naruto suddenly jumped back from the flute in his hand as all three eye holes began to glow purple and the voice rang from it. I cannot stand it any longer. I will just devour you all myself. What th? Purple lightning flashed everywhere as a large magic circle appeared in the sky, causing the flute to grow into a large demon. What is that? Your souls are mine. The huge demon let out a maniacal roar as Naruto regrouped with the fairy tale mages. Now then, whose soul shall I devour first? Naruto, stay down. Urza grabbed Naruto's shoulder as he prepared to jump into action. We are fine. What are you talking about? Naruto pointed up to the giant demon. That thing is about to stamp the town into the ground. We have to do something. No need to worry, young one. Naruto looked behind Urza to see Lucy and Happy walking towards them in the company of an old man with white hair covered in a funny orange and blue striped hat, with a small orange jacket, matching pants and small brown shoes. Did he mention he was very small? No. Good. Because he just grew about half a mile high. Gianto, Titan. Naruto watched in awe as the orange-wearing old man suddenly turned into a giant the size of the flute demon and confronted him. Lullaby the man said as he stared the demon in the eye. After seeing my children perform so well you decide to kill them for their efforts? You aren't devouring anything except your ass, which I am about to shove up your throat. Lullaby's eyes widened as the man's fist smashed him in the face, causing him to fall back, only for the man to kick him, sending him flying over the town, keeping him from crushing buildings or hurting any of the townsfolk. Why, you're a monster, Lullaby said as the man walked over to him. But even monsters have ears. Die. Jigoku Kara no Komori Uta. Lullaby from hell. Monsters do have ears, the man replied as the demon began to draw in his breath, but they can still choose what they listen to, even if they are monsters. Kyojin no Gekuren. Gained wrath. Before the demon could complete his last breath he was already beaten, and as he reverted back into his flute form the man who faced him began to shrink, grabbing the flute as he in turn was grabbed by Happy. Thank you, Happy, Makarov said as the cat gently landed the two in the station lobby. Whoa. Naruto said, Mister, I don't know who you are, but that was the sickest thing I have seen in weeks. Who are you? I am Makarov Drayar, third master of fairy tale. Makarov smiled. And I believe you have something for me? Omake. A. Crash. Course in Christmas. Year. X 781. Christmas? Naruto asked curiously as the group traveled through the formidable desert winds as they continued their everlasting journey. I've never heard of it. What is it? What type of sick, twisted person are you? Gildarts asked. Christmas is the joy and source of happiness for kids your age. What is the matter with you? No, seriously, I've never heard of it, Naruto said. Really, the biggest holiday in Konoha is my birthday, I mean the Yondaime's day of sacrifice. Wow. Gildarts just stared out into the storm as they halted. Okay. Let's make camp here for the day. Really? Naruto asked. We only started out a while ago. The sun is still burning, I mean shining. I think you should try working on that technique the scroll is having you learn, you know, the water one. In the middle of a sandstorm? Naruto replied, shaking his head, no way. Naruto, either you will use the jutsu or you will experience another crash course in disrespecting your master. Fine. The procession stopped as Naruto let his hands work their magic. Sweden. Teppodama. Water style. Liquid bullet. Naruto threw his head back and spewed out a fountain of water, washing through the flying grains of sand and floating along with it, causing the sand to glisten in the wind. Wow, Naruto thought. Looks like snow. I haven't seen it snow on Christmas in a long time, Gildarts said. Last time I had to ask Makarov and Gray to combine their Isu Maiku, ice make, to create a brief snow. Why? Naruto asked as the sand continued to glisten. Is there any reason that makes it important to you for it to snow on Christmas? It's meant to bring good fortune, Naruto, Gildarts said, and besides, I wanted to see your reaction when the water came back down. Huh? Naruto looked up, only to see a glob of mud coming at him from the sky. Splat. Merry Christmas, Naruto. Year. X782. Snow. Gildarts woke up from his tent lazily, stretching as he recognized the cold air and saw the white flakes fall outside his tent. Wow, this year it's actually real. Gildarts rolled out of his covers and crawled out of his tent, only to find nothing. Hey, enjoy the itching powder, Gildarts-sensei. Gildarts turned around and found Naruto hanging from the tree above his tent, shaking a large bottle of itching powder. Why you, Bunshin Daibaku, clone explosion. Gildarts braced himself as the clone exploded, destroying the bottle and leaving the itching powder all over him, not dressed in his garb yet. Merry Christmas, Gildarts-sensei. You think this is over? Huh? Naruto asked. That's what happened last year to me. I was just replaying it on you. Sure. I can get the last lick on you, Naruto. Naruto gulped as he saw the evil gleam in Gildarts' eyes, but no one ever get the last lick on Gildarts. Holy CRA. Naruto had no time to speak as Gildarts was already upon him. Crash. Naruto was sent flying into the swamp behind the tent area as Gildarts cracked his neck. Merry Christmas, Naruto. Year. X783. Hey Naruto, Natsu said as the group of mages got on the train, preparing to go back to Magnolia. Christmas is coming soon. Maybe you could come visit. No way in hell. Before any of them could react, Naruto had jumped out the window and began to run away. Sheesh. What's up with him? Natsu tilted his head as Gray's question sunk in. Gildarts, Makarov held his face with his palm. How in the world did you take this kid and make him fear a holiday so badly? Year. X783. Gildarts-kun. Huh? Gildarts turned around and saw a young girl run up to him. He had just finished a part-time mission saving the town from a group of bandits as he made his way towards his sulfur monosulfide class mission, and he left a big impression. Yeah, he was never real good with kids. What is it, Hakumo? Gildarts asked the young brunette. I need to get on the road soon. I was just hoping you could stop by for Christmas. Christmas? Gildarts jumped back from the girl, looking around frantically for something. He didn't figure out where I am, did he? No, it's okay. He's not here. It's not possible, heh. Are you okay, Gildarts-kun? The girl asked. You look a little disturbed. I'm okay. Gildarts let out a sigh of relief as he turned to leave again. Just had a bad memory pop up is all. Nothing to worry about. Cut. This was so much fun to write. I could not stop myself and possibly leave you all on another cliffhanger. I would have smacked myself. Hope you enjoyed it. Couple of important notes to this chapter. Byard was ended rather quickly in an attempt to get to the meat of the chapter. If Gray already encountered Michi, then how can I extend these battles much longer? Yuru no Hikari. Ude Kakushi Ken o Might. Light of Night. Seen Arm Hidden Fists. Kanso Ken no Mori. Requip. Forest of Swords. No Shinigami Iwarai. Shinigami's Hearty Laugh. And all of Michi no Hikari's attacks are all attacks I generated. Eisenwald is a part of Fairy Tail, which is owned by the author. In that same sense, the attacks and OCs I use are my own, and I own them. LOLs to the Ike reference for those who caught it. I fight for my friends. Rasengan being used against Kageyama. Meh. Originally wanted it to be the method used to defeat Michi, but I couldn't see it happening any other way. Anyone catch the 3 references I used? An Ike reference from Urza. I fight for my friends. A Sherlock Holmes 2009 reference from Michi. My whole inspiration of him and his attacks was based on that opening scene, and the final Clint Eastwood reference from Naruto. So go ahead, punk, make my day. I've known the basic plotline for this arc for the longest time. When I started watching FTI made up my own little changes on the spot and edited them slowly over the past 1 to 2 years, so having this out is awesome to me. All fairy tale arcs have this kind of potential. Christmas Omake. Hooray! Merry Christmas to those who read this, and if you liked this story so far, write a review, fave, or watch this story as it continues to unravel. And to those who already do, thanks a bunch. You help fuel these works. The poll I had up on my profile is complete. It may seem like an early conclusion, and I have not officially closed it, but the way things are going I can tell that not many more people will vote on it. I'm about to include the character in CH7. Only 2,000 words to go. And one character is overwhelmingly popular. Plus 40% of vote, so the winner is decided. Also, the first vote that was cast was not for the overall favorite, but it was cast before this chapter came out. I said something about it in an update on the last chapter, and someone actually voted. So that Jinchuriki may also make an appearance. I feel generous and inspired. Deal with it. Crunch. Random cookies. Laughing face CH7. Adventure time. To be simple, I'm going to put a generic disclaimer here. If I owned Naruto, Bleach, or anything that earned me money, I would try to introduce too many unique ideas and have that position taken away from me. So the only thing I own is the plot and a few OCs. Galuna Island begins. Christmas is over and I felt the need to write. Going to try writing all day and see what I can get done. Enjoy CH7. Demons. Summons. Powerful people. Like Mizuki smiley face, flashback. Emphasis jutsu, magic, techniques CH7. Adventure time. You're being serious? Naruto sighed as Makarov nodded his head. He took off without me, ass. He's trying to give you some freedom in your actions, Makarov replied. It's not meant to be hurtful. I know, Naruto said. I was hoping to bitch him out about delivering this letter and how much friggin' trouble it was. So, what will it be? Makarov asked. Would you like to join? Maybe we could do something like a demo? Makarov asked. You mean like letting you shadow someone? Well, yeah, I guess, Naruto said. I did similar stuff back where I came from. I just want to know the difference. Gildarts sensei didn't talk about it much. Alright then, but you still need the mark. Makarov reached into his desk drawer and pulled out the stamp of the guild insignia, and Naruto reached his hand out, letting him place the orange mark on his skin. Okay then, Naruto asked. What now? Get drunk and party, he says. Naruto sighed as he sat in the middle of the guild, which was currently drunk. Most older members. Partying, non-drunk members. Or fighting, all guild members. And he was the only sane person it seems. Looking around he saw some of the friendly banter turn ugly as Natsu and Gray face off again. Don't you just look peachy today? Oh yeah? Well, at least I'm not stripping. Wait, what? Naruto deadpanned as Natsu unleashed a Karyu no Tekken, Fire Dragon's Iron Fist, and knocked Gray into the guild wall. Again Naruto sighed. Where the heck was he going to sleep tonight? Definitely not here of all places. Natsu and Gray would ruin it. Wait, how does this place get cleaned anyway? Hello there, Naruto. Naruto turned to see the white-haired woman that stood up to Urza when he first arrived. Welcome to Fairy Tail. Thank you, Miss Mirajane, Mirajane said, smiling. You seem calm with everyone's fun. Usually the new people are uncomfortable. I'm not a very normal person, Naruto said. I was raised to fight, just not this way, not like you guys. What do you mean? Mirajane asked, setting her plate of beer cans down. Not like us, you mean Fairy Tail. No, mages. Mirajane gave him an odd look. Well, I think I'm going to take Natsu out of that mess over there. I'm supposed to shadow him until I get used to the system here. Be careful then, Mirajane said as he entered the squabble of Fairy Tail mages, several airborne attacks whizzing by him. Natsu? Naruto called out into the pile of mages attacking each other. Come over here for a minute, I need to borrow you. Naruto. Natsu jumped out of the crowd and stood in front of him. Fight me. I think not. And Naruto denied his request. Besides, You didn't even fight Urza because of the emergency celebration, as Makarov called it. Urza, come out and fight me. Natsu started shouting into the guild. You owe me that fight. You want to fight her now? Naruto said. You just challenged me a minute ago? I'm going to fight both of you, free for all. No, Naruto smashed his fist into Natsu's head before dragging him out of the guild. Fuck that, I am not fighting Urza, and you. That is too much shit in one day for me, thank you very much. The guild? Silence ended as Naruto left the guild with Natsu in tow, and conversation began to rise up as time went on. How did he do that? Mirajane wondered as she continued to serve up the beverages and tend the bar. Urza and I tend to be the only people that can stop those things besides Master. Who is this? Naruto, what the heck was that for Naruto? Natsu said as Naruto released him and began to walk through the town. Where are we going anyway? I have no idea, Naruto said. Makarov said I should shadow one of you guys for a while and I chose you. Then you have to fight them. No, Naruto slammed his fist into Natsu's skull and silenced his request before it could be given. Hey wait, where's Happy? Right here. Naruto jumped as Happy appeared on his shoulder, sulking, and you're right, you don't taste like fish at all. WTF, you've been eating my jacket? I saw. You, Naruto was forced to be restrained by Natsu as Happy shrank away. Be lucky Natsu is here, because this isn't over, pretty kitty. Scary. Now that is settled, Naruto said. Do you know a good place I could stay for a while, like a hotel or something? Natsu and Happy exchanged knowing grins before looking back to Naruto and leading the way. Wow, this is unique, Naruto said as he sat on the bed of the room they just entered. Nope, not at all, Natsu said. Just your average house here, covered in pink wallpaper. Natsu turned around and gave him a death glare. Happy sitting on his pink hair. Got a problem with pink? No, Naruto said. It just feels fishy. Those weird looks I got a couple of times on the way here. The fact that the place smells nothing like you at all, and the fact that you prefer the window over the door. Is someone there? Naruto turned to the entrance of the small apartment to see Lucy enter, and she looked pissed. Very pissed. What are you doing in my house, Natsu? Naruto. Lucy stormed into the room and smashed Natsu in the face, moving to do the same to Naruto until he put his hands up to deny his guilt. Wait, Lucy-san. Natsu brought me here, I had no idea it was your house. Lucy stopped inches from him and turned around to Natsu again. Natsu. It was Happy's idea, was too. Both of you shut up. Lucy quieted them before pointing at the door. Now get out of my house. But Lucy, we had an idea we wanted to share with you. Natsu pleaded. Just hear us out? Lucy sighed. Fine, but then you will get out. We want to form a team. Team? Lucy asked. An official team? Natsu said. I originally was thinking just us two, but Naruto is going to stalk me for a while. Shadow. Not stalk. Same difference. Natsu replied. Anyway, so what do you think? The three? What about me, four of us? Natsu restated his question as Happy gave out a cry of, I saw. If it will get you out of my house, sure. Lucy pointed towards the door. Now get out, both of you. But we have to take our mission, Natsu said, and since you're on our team you can't refuse. What mission? Naruto asked as he saw Happy pull out a sheet of paper with black writing on it. And in big red letters, S-Class. No. Lucy smacked the paper from Happy's hands desperately. No way. Mirajane told me about those things today. Get that request away from me and go home. Fine then, let's have a vote, Natsu said. Those in favor, excluding Naruto since he has to do whatever I do, say, I. I saw. Lucy gained a visible tick mark on her head as Natsu high-fived Happy. Well then, that's majority. Couldn't we use electoral votes instead? Naruto asked. Besides, I should still be able to vote. Too bad, you didn't, Natsu said, grabbing Naruto and jumping out the window with Happy. Come on Lucy, don't be a sore loser. I think I'll pass. Lucy moved to go close the window. only to see the mission request on the floor. Reward of 70,000 jewels and one of the 12 zodiac keys? Lucy's eyes shone unnaturally before locking her house and running off in pursuit of her teammates. Wait up. Huh? Mira Jane paused in her daily morning routine, letting the broom rest against the wall as she looked at the mission board. One of the mission requests is gone. Who could have? Mira Jane's eyes shot open. Natsu? He took a mission? Isn't Naruto shadowing him also? Good morning, Mira Jane. Makarov yawned as he walked onto the first floor. Found an interesting mission request up there? Why yes, Mira Jane said. The Galuna Island mission seems like fun. I was waiting to tell you until I left. It's fine, just mark it off in the book. Mira Jane sighed in relief as Makarov walked away. I accepted the mission. I guess I better pack and catch Natsu before he gets out to sea, poor guy. Mira Jane placed the broom back in the closet using a quick requip, before walking down and out the guild door. Time I got some exercise in anyway. No ships, absolutely no ships at all. Naruto deadpanned as the trio walked the dock. Seriously, I could just take you all there if I had a freaking sea map, but of course there aren't any. And of course there is no one that would take us to the cursed island that actually has a friggin' map. We'll have to find a transport soon before Master finds out Natsu stole the request, Lucy said. That zodiac key is so mine. Master won't find out. Ah. Everyone turned around to see Mira Jane standing behind them. Mira Jane. Why are you here? Natsu, you took that S-class mission, didn't you? Maybe. I saw. I'm covering for you just this one time. She held up a single finger to emphasize her point, but this was dangerous. Don't do it ever again. So you're coming with us? Lucy asked. Maybe you could help us find a boat. None of these people won't take us to Galuna Island. Galuna Island? Everyone turned to see a man in a brown cloak, a blue headpiece and tan skin with a flat mustache. You accepted the request? Yeah, Naruto said. We're from Fairy Tail. Get in the boat, the man said. I've been waiting for one of you guilds to accept that request forever. Prepare yourself. This will be a long ride. B-boat? Natsu violently shook his head. Long ride? Happy can you? Nope. Natsu will stay in the boat, Mira Jane said happily. Come here, Natsu. Natsu mumbled, and as he stepped into the boat, he promptly fell seasick and fell face first onto the boat. He'll be okay, right? Naruto asked nervously as Natsu slowly sat next to him. I mean, he was really seasick on the train, on a boat. He'll be just fine, Mira Jane said cheerfully, placing her palm in front of Natsu's face. Namori. Sleep. Light sparkles appeared in the air around Natsu's face, and he promptly fell asleep on Mira Jane's lap, reminding Naruto how Urza had done a similar thing. So, what should we do while we wait to arrive? Lucy asked. Maybe we could tell stories or something? I think I have the most perfect story to tell you all. Really, Naruto? Lucy asked. What type of story? It is a story of many things, and can't be placed under a single category. Naruto smirked widely. This is the tale of the fifth Hokage, the greatest shinobi of all time. So, the fifth Hokage lived happily ever after, kicking ass and taking names. Lucy deadpanned as Naruto concluded his hour-and-a-half-long story, which was told as if he was an 8-year-old, and overall, it was so obviously fictional that it didn't ever click with her in the slightest. That was amazing, Naruto, Mira Jane said. Maybe you could tell us another story? Oh no, not again. Lucy kept a calm outlook but on the inside was begging for these stories to end. Sure, Naruto said. The first one was obviously a fiction, but the one I'm about to tell you is true. 16 years ago, the village of Konoha was attacked by the most powerful demon in existence, the Kyuubi no Yoko. He killed many of Konohagakure's forces by his menacing roars, and when he swept his tails he crumbled mountains. But then the fourth Hokage appeared and fought the demon, ultimately defeating him and sealing him away forever so that he could never again attack his beloved village Konohagakure, even though it cost him his life. Short. Lucy thought, that was a real event. No offense, but that's pretty fictional sounding to me. I knew people who helped in the effort to fight the thing, But that's okay. Naruto leaned back. I don't expect to be believed on some of this stuff anyway, I wouldn't. Happy. You've been awfully quiet. Mirajane began looking around for the blue cat desperately, not finding him anywhere. Anyone see Happy? He had better not be doing what I think he's doing. Naruto slowly, very slowly, reached his hand back as if to scratch his head, only to dash down to his back and pull Happy off him. What the heck, Happy? Naruto said, this is the second time. Why do you keep eating my jacket? I wasn't, Happy retorted, I was fishing. I told you I'm not, fish cake, I'm, Maelstrom, for the last time. Meanie. Happy jumped into Mirajane's arms and began to sulk. Stupid cat, Naruto thought as the sky began to darken, and he could tell the water wasn't too happy. Hey boat person, what's up with the weather? We are nearing Galuna Island, I know that, but what's with the weather? Naruto asked. This is really creeping me out here, you seem unresponsive. Galuna Island truly is haunted by a curse. The captain turned around, revealing a sick-looking arm. Mister, that arm is so cool. Naruto jumped forward and grabbed it. How can I do this with my arm? Can you tell me? Be back away, the man said, shaking the blonde from him. This is a curse, it is bad. You do not want it. Fine, I'll believe you, Naruto pouted, but where is Galuna Island? I don't see it holy. Everyone stopped what they were doing to see a large purple light come down and reveal an island not far off. That is Galuna Island, huh? Lucy asked. Where did the guy go? He did not just ditch us, Naruto exclaimed, only to notice a giant wave coming towards them. Shit. Hold on you guys, I got this. Naruto placed his hands in the cross seal, Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Multiple shadow clone jutsu. Mirajane watched in awe as the multitude of Narutos appeared, running on the water. This also got Lucy and Happy's attention, as they had only seen a couple of his tricks. This was a new one. So he's not a fish, but he can walk on water. Apparently, Lucy said, after seeing him fight against Eisenwald. This doesn't surprise me as much as it should. Not like you guys, huh? Mirajane thought as the swarm of orange ran towards the tidal wave. Not like any of us, more like it. Sweden. Tepodama. Water style. Liquid bullet. Everyone took on a surprised look as each of the Naruto spat out a large amount of water, creating its own wave to crash into the tidal wave and creating a hole that quickly filled up with water. Everyone hold on, Naruto shouted as the wave continued forward, but the original Naruto made it back to the boat. Upon getting there he went under the water after pulling out a kunai. What are you doing, Naruto? Lucy tried to see him from above the water, but couldn't. What is he doing? The wave is almost. Naruto suddenly jumped up from the water and grabbed everyone to the deck as the wave came in. Kai. Release. Without warning, the small boat jumped out of the water and high into the air, getting over the wave as it passed, and staying there as smaller waves continued. Phew, that was close. Naruto looked around to find odd stares coming his way. Something wrong? Naruto, Lucy said, you just attacked a wave and made a ship fly. Oh, Naruto said at first, not really understanding. Then he understood. Oh, well, you see, actually I might want to start off with explaining my magic to you all, but it's not really magic. This is just the easiest way to explain it to you. I use Te no Maho, Hand's magic. Naruto explained. Hand's magic is the molding of magical energy to use jutsu, which are my techniques that you see. I get the clones, but Lucy pointed to the boat. Why is the boat flying? Remember back when we made the four-wheeler go faster? Lucy nodded. Those seals I placed on the car didn't use up all of the energy I placed into my futon. Daitopa, wind style. Great. Breakthrough. So I wrote the seals on the bottom of the boat with my kunai so we could escape getting wiped out. Wouldn't we be running out of energy soon? Probably, Naruto said. I was just trying to milk this moment of you all basking in my epicness, but since we're going to start falling soon, hold that thought. Naruto leaned over the back of the boat before turning back to them. Okay, hold on, make sure I don't fly out of the boat, and we'll be fine. Naruto turned back to the back of the boat and placed his hands together similar to before, futon. Daitopa. Wind style, great breakthrough. An amazing blast of wind followed suit, causing them to blast through the air and over the roaring waves. And then they began to fall. Ah, what was that? A man in green attire and blue hair replied. That thing fall from the sky, did you see it too? The pink-haired girl responded. Angelica saw it, didn't you? I didn't see anything, and I'm sure Angelica didn't either. A tall man with dog-like features spoke up, but I felt a decent amount of power. It wasn't magical power though, the blue-haired man said. I specialize in taking my opponent's attacks apart. This is something I haven't experienced before. We were pretty far away, but I can tell it was something different than magic. We should tell Leon-sama then, the pink-haired girl said, because this, along with that other problem, just complicated his plans. That was not fun, at all. Lucy said as she dusted herself off. The landing was not very well planned. Is Natsu still asleep? Lucy let a sweat drop fall as Natsu sat up from his spot and looked around at the massive shipwreck around him. Did I miss something? We got here alive, Happy said, grasping the ground with his paws. Naruto must never drive again. At least the wave didn't hit us, Happy mumbled as he went to sulk under a tree. Anyways, where is the village? Mirajane asked, walking up to the forest in front of them. We should try to make it before it gets too dark, and it has been a long day so far. I can scout the place out a while we rest up. Naruto created a flock of clones and sent them out in random directions in search of the village while the fairy tale mages recovered from their disturbing journey to the island. Those clones are really useful, Natsu said as the multitude of Naruto's disappeared, but now that they're all gone it's just you and me. I'll beat you for sure. Natsu, I thought I said I wasn't fighting you today. Naruto deadpanned Natsu's fiery spirit. Besides, you still didn't fight Urza. Yet, because you wouldn't let me, because you wanted to fight me too. Naruto pinched his nose to avoid the upcoming headache. Anyway, I'm going to sleep until I get word from a clone or something. Tell me if you need anything. Naruto promptly sat down under a palm tree and leaned back, closing his eyes and leaving the others in his much-needed sleep. So, now we just wait? Lucy asked. Are we doing anything? He's doing everything, even sleeping. HMPH, I'm going, Natsu said, walking into the forest. I can smell you guys out later. It shouldn't be that hard with all the foreign smells around here. Wait, Natsu. Lucy frowned as Natsu waved her off and Happy followed suit. Mira, can't you? Z's. Well, that was a waste of breath. Lucy sighed as she saw Mirajane also fast asleep under a tree. I should get some sleep before we move out again. It's been a long day. The landscape looks very unusual, a clone thought to himself as he ran through the forest. What am I saying? I've been so many places that everywhere looks unusual to me. Fury is so different from Fire Country. Naruto jumped from tree to tree through the brush, spotting some wildlife here and there, but nothing out of the ordinary. Except a giant pale blue rat flying like a helicopter. What the? Naruto's thoughts averted from the task at hand to following the mysterious animal. Boss is going to want to know about this. I thought we were the only ones that could make stuff randomly fly. Naruto followed the rat through the forest, finding himself in front of an old temple with odd writings on it. Seeing the rat land and let 3 people get off of its back, all of them near his own age. The first was a girl with pink hair tied into 2 ribbons, a choker tied into a ribbon around her, a pink and purple spaghetti skirt, and black leggings along with black, high-heeled sandals, followed by a short man with spiky blue hair who wore a green one-tailed coat. But from Naruto's distance from the man and the man's height, it was hard to tell much else, and the last man was a dog? Naruto crept closer, using his stealth to get up close to the temple. What th? Naruto awoke with a start as his clone's account of the tale finished. Something wrong, Naruto? Lucy awoke with a yawn as she heard Naruto's sudden exclamation. Did you find the village? No, but one of my clones saw some weird people, followed by some strange temple, then it dispelled automatically. Naruto frowned. My clones can choose when they dispel. so it was either too far away from me, or an attack. Merjan finished Naruto's sentence. This could mean many different things, Naruto. But if something like that happened, we should find that village. Maybe one of the people attacked you since they didn't recognize you? I would have sensed a regular person. Naruto's eyes suddenly widened, looking around the camp. Where did Natsu go? Natsu? Mirajane looked around. Of course he would run off, he's stir crazy. Happy's gone too, Lucy said. Maybe he can find us then, but do you have any idea on the village? That's actually why I realized Natsu is gone. Naruto began to sulk. He's apparently been there for an hour already. Are you kidding me? Lucy pinched her nose as she tried to get rid of her own headache. Which way is it? This way, Naruto said as he began running through the trees. Hurry, Natsu's in a bad situation. What happened? Lucy asked worriedly. Is something wrong? Yeah, something very wrong. Naruto winced. Natsu's getting his ass kicked all over the place. What? Lucy asked, astonished. By who? Some masked guy in a cape, a superhero maybe. What was that? Sherry pointed over to the small puff of smoke that began to disperse into the atmosphere. You saw that right, it wasn't just me? It felt much like the energy from before, Yuka said. Someone might be onto us, but whoever they aren't here anymore, and we didn't say anything that might have been of interest. Most likely they deemed us not a threat. I was looking forward to a fight, Toby grinned. I haven't done anything but worship the purple light in forever. Can't we do something for once? If getting into a fight would ruin Leon-sama's plans, then we should try to avoid them. We need to hurry then, Yuka said, because if this is actually something serious, we could be compromised. Just hearing that the villagers' message was accepted was bad enough. You think it's the Magic Council? Toby asked. I swear we are in deep shit if they come after us again. We got lucky last time. That man that found us knew what we were doing, Yuka said as the trio entered the temple. I know he did. I saw it in his eyes, but he let us go. I didn't like the way he was looking at the temple when he was here though. You mean Seagrain? Sherry asked. I didn't think anything of him either. Maybe you were being overcautious, Yuka. Maybe, Yuka responded as they came closer and closer to the large purple crystal containing their goal. For now, we need to make sure Delora is secure. Don't worry about this thing. The party turned to see a man with a red mask with 2 yellow eye holes and 4 white spikes, which eventually led out to long green hair. Approach them. Everything is going according to plan. No one could stop us once we get into the next phase of our plan. You're right, Zalti, Yuka said, his confidence restored. Thank you, but now we need to start the ritual soon. Otherwise we will fall behind schedule. Go on then. Zalti waved them off. I will keep guarding the demon as I have been. I'm the strongest of you all anyway. Says himself, Sherry snorted. Leon-sama could beat Zalti easily, I bet. Going on a mission, Gray? Makarov asked as his fellow Ice Mage walked up with a request. Since Mirajane was out, he had to use the book himself. Oh. What's this, Abu? It's just for the money. Gray cut him off desperately before he could say anything out loud. I swear on Kami, it's just for the money. I believe you, Makarov said without looking at Gray. Now it looks what the... Gray saw Makarov look up from the book to the 2nd floor and back again. Laxus? Did you pull a stunt and take the Galuna Island mission while I wasn't looking? That pathetic S-class mission. Hell no, Laxus said, but the other day I saw a blue cat with wings take it away. Damn it. Makarov slammed his fist on the table. Natsu, your brashness will be the end of us all. What happened, Master? Gray asked. Did Natsu really take the S-class mission? He took it and left something here in its likeness, just when Mirajane decided to try taking a mission, and now both of them have gone out on that mission without verifying it with the book. Makarov clenched his fist. And not only that, but another guild has taken the request. Another guild? Gray asked. Who is it? Makarov's Giayanto, Titan, smashed the table beside him as he grit his teeth. Phantom Lord. Who was that? A caped figure asked as the blonde-orange blur flashed below, jumping from branch to branch and through the brush. That wasn't what I thought it was it? The figure shook their head and turned to leave. No, it couldn't be, I'm safe. The figure then began to make their own trek through the forest, going in the opposite direction of the person they had just seen. I'm safe here. Cut. Mirajane and Phantom Lord are on Galuna. How do you like that for a plot twist? Couple of important notes to this chapter. Lols to Gray's running gag. Naruto shows his epic side. Hooray! Naruto's tale of the Kyuubi's attack shows that he doesn't know his heritage, but he does know about the Kyuubi being sealed within him. Last chapter he gave an introduction ceremony. Lols to Happy's running gag. Naruto's seal's prowess is something that I feel turns him godlike. Again, I hear that he isn't, but while I like this part a lot, this is over the top. He is not godlike, at least until the story ends, and he doesn't know everything, not even close. Te no Maho, Hand's magic, is not an actual magic. I created it. It is just a device I am using to explain chakra techniques too. Mages. The first temple scene from Naruto's point of view was something I thought up on the spot. It has a major impact on the next chapter, so be prepared. Is Seagrain involved in the Galuna affair? Mysterious caped person. Or do you know who it is? Because I don't XD, or do I? Oh. So many foreshadowing in this chapter that you will never find, but I will rub in your face when the time comes. Oh, the joy. Next chapter will have less dialogue and more action, so enjoy the piece while it lasts. The epicness that is random cookies will strike again. By the way, the poll is still open, but I took a look at it and a single character has about 40% of the vote, and I needed to know who it was to write this chapter, so the poll is open, just because I don't want to show you guys the results just yet. Hate my guts? I love you guys too. Crunch. Random cookies. Laughing face. CH8. Curses and phantoms. To be simple, I'm going to put a generic disclaimer here. If I owned Naruto, Bleach, or anything that earned me money, I would try to introduce too many unique ideas and have that position taken away from me, so the only thing I own is the plot and a few OCs. Thank